Hello, hello, good people. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? So, let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I may not have my AirPods on because it's too quiet and it's weird. Let me cut these AirPods off for a second and just have my speaker going. Yeah. Hold on one second, y'all. The good thing about AirPods, though, I can walk around and still talk to y'all. What are y'all doing? Good people, good people, good people, good people. Sorry it took me so long. Rio was in rare form, people. Rio was in rare form. Let's go. Who is the Berean scholar in here? I do want to let y'all know that I am in the near future not transitioning, but adding a component to my channel. I want to bring more people on far as clean, not the aftermath. Now, if you don't like the aftermath, that's fine. But the structure, I got a lot of good reviews on the debate yesterday. They liked how it was structured. Outside of the freestyle or the free for all, it was peaceful. It was It was pretty good. It was pretty good. So I want to bring more people on to do this. So if anybody's watching and they're interested in setting up debates, um, you can reach out to me on my email. My email is Sister E, sister spelling Sister. And I'll show it on the screen real quick. Uh, Let me get Sister E dot let's talk at gmail.com. Um, I had been really contemplating, y'all, to adding that component to my channel. A lot of people don't like debates. Debates aren't bad if it's structured and people are not, unhinged. And that's the goal, is to have something that's not where people just cutting up sideways. And we know people have a tendency to do that. Uh, Here, I'm gonna show it on the screen again. So this is my email address. So if you're interested in doing a clean debate with the same moderators, the same people, as far as keeping up with time, uh, reach out to me. I am more than willing to bring you on. We have rules that we abide by in these debates. You notice that the debate was very structured. We did not have a situation where people were saying I didn't get enough time. And again, we're still working through the kinks. You had hold on, Rio was just doing the most. Rio, go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Now enough is enough. Go lay down. Go. Find you a spot. Thank you. Good boy. But it's very structured. In my debates, go lay down. I'm sorry, y'all heard me push him out the way a little bit because he got into something. Go lay down. That's a good boy. Okay. I got him to sit down there because I fussed at him. Um, but they're very structured. With this, um, we have a time amount that you can. He is acting like a wild. He really not acting wild, y'all. And I'm gonna get back into the debate. He's really just roaming around, and I'm like, sit down. As y'all know, I'm renting a Airbnb until I can find an apartment, and it's just a new environment for him. So, um, it just is temporary, but he is just all over the place because he's just trying to figure out his spot. So, but he's been kind of good. He's been kind of good. Uh, they are big old babies, big old fur babies. He's done now. He's mad. All right. So with that being said, with these structured debates, we have this is how I did it, y'all. And for anybody to watch it, what happens is if you email me or LV, but really you email me and then I follow up with LV and Kara to get them involved. If you're interested in a debate, you email me. Once you email me, I will set up a pre-debate conversation. In that pre-debate conversation, I have a list of rules, which is considered to be contract, as far as this is how you're gonna conduct yourself. And you don't have to totally abide by it in the pre-debate conversation. I look at what you request. If you say you don't want 20 minutes round one, 20 minutes round two, it really just goes over the preliminaries. We make adjustments to the contract, both parties in the meeting. Um, some may say I want 10 minutes, 5 minutes apiece. That's fine. But someone may say I want an extra round. I want to do this. So we modify the debate ground rules in the meeting. Once we are all in agreement with the ground rules, I will send it to you, to each person who's debating. Send me back an email saying I agree. Once you agree, and also in the contract, we finalize on the title and we finalize on the date. Once we finalize on those things, that goes into the contract. It's not really like a contract, but it is. Once you've reviewed it, we agreed on a date, we agreed on a time. I give that to you, and I agree, and you send back I agree. Once you do that, we're good. Hold on, get my charger. Here I come, y'all. Here I come. So I had to get my charger. Sorry. I'm back. I'm back. I had to get my charger because I don't want it to die. Okay. Back to the subject at hand. Once you agree, we send it. Now, not to say you can't make changes. Let's say 2 or 3 days before the debate, you say, I need to reschedule. That's fine. We'll follow up with the other party who's involved in the debate. Um, we'll finalize and say, do you agree with this date? If they're fine, I'll resubmit the contract to you. And you say yay or nay. Both parties have to say, I agree. So and that's how I did it with this is how I did it with Yacoba and Judah Hebrew, and they both agreed. Now, what I am going to add, because I learned yesterday, do you want to have a freestyle after the debate and give that person the option, yes or no? And then after that, we go, because I don't want to walk into have anybody walk into anything blindly. Also will be incorporated in the contract. Do you want judges? And then if you want judges, it may take a little bit longer because I have a list of individuals that are great judges, but I got to allow people to agree upon those judges. So let me make this clear. This is not a league. I don't do leagues. I don't have the time nor the capacity to do leagues. It's just if you want a fair platform where if you even feel that I am going to be biased, call it out and say, I don't want you to moderate. Fine. I will bring other moderators on. And you all agree upon it. The freestyle, everybody kept saying you were biased. I'm not really biased. Actually, I was in and out of the conversation, and I was trying to get the brothers to stop screaming on top at each other. So that's why I didn't judge. I did not judge. I not judge, but I didn't moderate because in this last debate between Yacoba and Judah, because I know people would feel like that I am gonna lean more towards Yacoba, which is fine. So I try to make sure everything is fair. So with that being said, anybody who's interested, get the word out. I'm getting ready to allow these certain things. Now, I'm not going to have anybody up here debating about anything, but some of the things I would love to see is, does God exist? I would love to see a debate between a believer and an atheist. That would be a great debate. Um, I would love to see debates on flat earth. Is it flat earth around? That would be a great debate. Polygamy. Is polygamy biblical? Those are certain things that I like to see. But it doesn't necessarily have to be around that. It doesn't even have to be just around religion. It could be around science. So whatever you deem as that. It does not have to be just Hebrew. If it's a white person that wants to get up here and debate, you're more than welcome. If you're black, you want to debate. If you Indian, if you want to debate. If you want to, you're Palestinian, if you want to debate. Y'all welcome to come up here. It's going to be a free space and a free zone. So with that being said, anybody interested, reach out to me through my email that I just posted, and we will set it up and we'll go from there. You're gonna always see me, LV, and Karath involved in these conversations because we have a history of working together. We've worked together with BJM, y'all know, which is Black Jesus Minister. We've done some stuff on Sinetta. I had to judge a debate on Sinetta's channel through BJM. We've done judging, me and Karath and LV have done judging in Clubhouse. We've judged debates with people like, if you know anything about Trilla and Professor Mack, they are more so on the Clubhouse scene. We actually was a part of a debate group that were considered to be a panel of judges for his debates or their debates. I've had debates up here between Zadok and just Don and different people, Trilla and Zadok with Yirmiyah and Iz. So I've done debates here. I've been involved in debates. And what I've done is take everything that I saw and did a lessons learned and say, not going to do that, not going to do that, not going to do that.
Even if you don't like me and you can't stand me, that's fine. You're welcome to come up here and debate. I am not going to be involved. There's a couple of people that like Cherry. If Cherry want to come here and debate, I'm not gonna get in it. She just has to abide by the rules. That's how I'm doing. If Garfield wants to come up here, and I know some people don't too much care for Garfield. Actually, me and Garfield are not beefing right now. That's interesting enough. Um, Garfield want to come up here and debate. Come on, come up here. But it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be informative. Everybody enjoyed it. I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people outside of the freestyle and letting people up. Everybody enjoyed it, and like I said, I just want to and have an environment where it's a free environment where people don't feel like, oh, I'm going on Sister E channel and she gonna railroad me. That's not how I do it. That's not how I do it. But yeah, real. But yeah, if uh, you want to do it, just let me know. Let's see. Just email me. Now, let's get to the subject at hand because, again, even though I do want to pull debates in, I do not want to stop from what I normally do. That's not going to stop. We're still going to do news. We're still going to proceed with conversations. I haven't had conversations in a long time. Rio is really warming. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Let me get Rio some water and we will get started. That's what he was looking for, some water and food. I haven't fed you yet, sorry. So hold on, y'all. Let me get this spoiled dog some water. He just brought me his bowl. Or showed me his bowl. Here you go. 1 second, y'all. All right. Heck, if Vocab want to come up here and debate, he can come up here. I don't really care when I pick you like that. So, with that being said, let's get started. Family again. Get the word out. If people are interested, I'm open. And also put in the subject line if you're emailing me about a debate, say requesting a debate. Requesting a debate. And I'll put that in my community section and just put the word out there. Again, this it's not I'm not charging. Let me tell you that it will not be a charge to it. Um if it starts growing, then I may add a charge, but I'm not gonna charge people for that. I'm not to do the debate. If we ever have big debates, I may have something that's closed off, but that ain't that. I just want people to just enjoy themselves and have fun and debate and don't feel like I'm going into a territory where I'm being railroaded. That's not the case. Um, that's it. So let's get to the business. So, let's see. All right, Berean Scholarship. I just looked at your channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are an ordained pastor for 29 years for a non-denominational group. That's interesting. That's interesting. All right. Let me know what you do and what you about. Email me. And this is for Berean Scholar. Not why I say Berean Council, because it's a Berean Council out here, but Berean Scholar. Reach out to me if you ever want to do a conversation, just me and you talking about certain things. Um, because I see you got a cool channel. I'm looking at it as we speak. Um, it's some interesting stuff. It's some interesting stuff. Um, all right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, now America Unhinged, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Um, have y'all been keeping up with what's going on with the news? Have y'all been keeping up? So this morning I got an alert on my phone. Harris is leading. Hold on a second. It says debates are messy and brings out the worst in people who really don't learn anything. Most only cheer the ones on they like without listening to the debate. Not necessarily true, Char. Let me let you know this. Even in the Bible, they debated. What do you think Paul did in a synagogue? Paul wasn't in the synagogue just preaching like a typical pastor. He was going back and forth with the Pharisees consistently about the law. Um, the apostles did a lot of that, and especially in the synagogues. If you look at the history of some of the things that transpired in the synagogue, they would what they were doing, you would consider to be debating. They would go back and forth on things in some cases. So you can have a debate that's clean. Scholars and theologians always debates. They've had debates all the time, and I've seen some cases that when you bring good things to the table and it's clean, you have good conversation. So there's nothing wrong with debating. People love to say, "Oh, we Yasharel, we shouldn't be arguing. Let's leave it alone. We in love." You can debate in love. People have disagreements. Me and Yakoba don't agree on everything. People know that. Me and Yakoba didn't argue down, honey, on certain things, but we we can do that and still walk in love. I've me and me and Karis don't agree on everything. Me and Ashonda don't agree on everything. Me and Dante don't agree on things. Everybody don't agree. Um, but with that being said, people can have meaningful conversations when it comes to disagreements without the mudslinging. That's the purpose of the contract to throw out there is no mudslinging. Now, after the fact, if y'all want to do some Negro stuff, hey, look, y'all can go back and forth. But during the debate, we're going to get some good facts out there. But we still going to even keep that orderly and clean with the freestyle. So I don't see debates as being messy. It's just you got to find the right ones. I listen to a lot of debates. So with that being said, no worries. All right, y'all. So back to the subject at hand. When you look at what's going on right now, I got an alert on my phone that Harris is leading in the polls right now. Y'all remember when I said if Trump does not win, these people gonna lose it. These people are gonna lose their mind. I really see what's going on in the UK possibly happening in the US simply because of a disagreement of the president or who the president is going to be. Uh, you see a lot of division already. Well, division has always been here. This ain't nothing new. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go straight to who's lying, sister. They lying. Oh, I mean, they ain't. I don't care about them lying. Lying. It's just pretty much who is gonna win. Who do they want to win? And they really want Kamala to win because Kamala will is the one that's going to fulfill their agenda. Trump is a wild card. Trump is a wild card, and they don't know how or what he's going to do. They can't control him, and that's why he's considered to be dangerous. Um, so let me play some videos for y'all. I have to check on y'all. Play some videos for y'all. I'm not screaming today because screaming did a work on my voice yesterday. So let's see. Oh, let me put up my fair use thing. Fair use. Let me do this before they try to slam one on me because they love to come at me for some reason. All right, let me read the Copyright Act. Hold on. All right, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, business taken care of. Fair use.
I think when you were here before, it's so funny. Amy, I think when you were here before, it was July. We were probably talking about Joe Biden. The Trump people were talking about how.
Before we dig into this, the biggest thing with this is a report saying that Harris is leading or tied with Trump. It's all but one swing state polling. So let's say what's really going to send these people off into another realm if they're going to be unhinged if Camilla wins by a small measure to the point that it's a tie. That's more dangerous than her just winning overall. If she got like, I want to say 60% of the votes and Trump only got 40. But 50-50, if they tie or close to a tie, that is dangerous. That's like if Camilla gets 48.44 point or 40 something point, where it's like a 5%, I ain't gonna say it could be a 0.% off. And that's when everything is gonna go left. Did y'all know that Carnell, what's his name? He's on the ballot. Didn't know that. What's his name? Carnell. Oh, what is his Cornell? Let me see. Cornell. What is his name? What is his name, y'all? I can't remember. Is it Cornell? Cornell West. That's who it is. Cornell West is on the ballot. Did y'all know that? Did not know that. Cornell West is on the ballot for presidency. Found that out. I was wowed by that. I was like, oh my gosh. You see, they ain't said nothing about Cornell though. Pay attention. They push who they want to push. The blackface or what the so-called blackface that they want to push, which we know is an Indian lady, I think, is Camilla. It's not about black vote. It's about the black vote that they want to put in office or seem to be black because nobody has said anything about Cornell West. Nobody has. So didn't know Cornell West was on the ballot. Yep, it's a couple of them they just don't give airtime to. So, but with that being said, it will be pure back to if Kamala, however, and Trump are tied, or if it's a close win, it's going to be chaos. These folks gonna lose their mind because they're gonna be like, y'all cheated us already. Trump has started where he's talking about the polls where something has been hacked. We're gonna talk about that as well. So he's already putting his case out there that the voting system has been hacked. So guess what? It's already in Trump supporters' mind that if he loses, they hacked the system and they helped him lose. Another thing we got to look at is I really believe Putin has not made a move because he's watching the presidency. If Trump wins, Putin is going to pull back because I think his relationship with Trump, he's not going to do anything. But if Kamala wins, all hell is going to break loose. And it's going to be internal and external. So it ain't just America unhinged. The world is finna be unhinged. Again, people are wondering why Putin ain't made no move. Putin don't want to make a move right now. I really believe he does not want to make a move right now because he does not want to impact the elections. Because again, I think that Putin and Trump are cool. So he like, look, I'm gonna chill and I'm gonna watch this election. If Trump loses, then it's on the popping. That's what I think. I really believe he ain't gonna say it's on the popping, but I got a little country with that. But it's gonna be all hell gonna break loose, and that's the best way I can put it. I can't find no other word to explain it. For all my sensitive people in their ears, hell is in the Bible, so don't act like that. But it's all hell gonna break loose because they're gonna be mad. It's gonna be internal and external. So
how they were going to win, they were measuring the curtains, et cetera.
Going
It's
negative.
so funny. Amy, I think when you were here before, it was July. We were probably talking about Joe Biden. The Trump people were talking about how they were going to win. They were measuring the curtains, et cetera, et cetera. I think we all said it's only July. Now we can say it's only August. So it's still early. But again, quoting Churchill for the 18th time, at least it's now sort of the end of the beginning. We're about to get into the full swing of the campaign. You've got new numbers from swing states. What are you finding?
Yeah, you're right. This race has been reset, certainly since May, but even since July when President Biden dropped out. Look, back in May, we saw Biden trailing in all of the swing states, or at best tied. Right now, Harris is either leading or tied with Trump in those swing states. There's one state, Nevada, which she's still trailing in. But overall, if you look at those 7 swing states, Harris is up, again, within the margin, but up 48-47. Biden was down by 3 points. So it's a reset. To me, the most remarkable piece of this poll, and it's what we've been seeing in surveys now that have been coming out in the last week or so, is how little she has been burdened, shall we say, by her association with the administration. She's the sitting vice president, and yet 59% of voters in these swing states think that she is basically the change candidate. She's turning the page from Trump and Biden. She is a generational change, obviously, but they believe that too. And even though Trump is ahead on issues like immigration and the economy, on inflation, obviously the number one issue for so many voters, she's only trailing Trump by 6 points. I think if Biden were Biden were in this race, it would be a much bigger margin.
Amy, when you were here last with those polls that showed so much of this race had swung toward Donald Trump, there was, as you know, among Democrats, a sense of almost resignation midsummer of the debate was a disaster. Joe Biden, we love the guy, but he's too old. I'm not going to go vote for Donald Trump, but I think I'm sitting this one out. Is that what this is about? I think
that's exactly what we're seeing is.
Very interesting. I'll say that much. Very, very interesting. I would love to see how this plays out. Yep. All right, let's see.
Those voters who were parking themselves in, I'm going to vote for RFK Jr. maybe, or I'm undecided, have now all come back to Democrats. What's interesting too is RFK Jr. now is more of a problem for Trump than he is for Harris. Again, many of her voters now coming back to her, but the RFK voter is just by profile is somebody who should be or would be more would be more interested in voting for Donald Trump.
So, Amy, is it overstating it to indicate that the movement of voters back toward the vice president who are sitting on the fence or just not thinking about things? Is it a combination of relief and gratitude among voters, gratitude toward the president for withdrawing, and relief that, as you point out, a sitting vice president of the United States is now someone new?
She's new. And I do think, I do wonder if she weren't a woman, if this weren't as historic as it is, if you would have that level of movement and intensity, because she literally is, even if you don't know much about politics, you're not following this day to day, you've been hearing and seeing from two older white guys for a long time now and being very uninspired by it. And then all of a sudden, here comes this woman who doesn't look or act or sound like anything you've seen before in politics. And suddenly it's like, I'm going to.
Interesting enough to see that they are Team Kamala. And you remember when Kamala won last time? Well, when Kamala ran last time, Biden beat her out of in the preliminaries for the Democratic ticket, and how they spoke ill of her. Y'all noticed that? They did not like her, and they did not want her to win, and they still have the same attitude. But ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
I'm going to listen in. So she's getting a benefit of the doubt that is quite remarkable for a sitting vice president.
So, Jamar, what we're seeing here are trends that it's not that Donald Trump is losing support, but rather that Kamala Harris has gained support, reconsolidating, as Amy just said. And I think it's particularly of note as you talk to Democrats, how they feel younger voters coming home and certainly voters of color. And that's just a coalition that she has to build, particularly in the suburbs and the big cities in these battleground states.
Yeah, it feels like folks coming home rather than her moving undecided voters to the Democratic column. And there's obviously a huge difference. Now, in an era of polarization, getting Democrats to come home, getting them motivated is crucial because mobilization matters. I don't think it matters as much as persuasion, but mobilization matters a lot. The key for her is going to be the next phase, which is persuasion, which is moving undecided voters to the Democratic column. Those numbers you guys flashed on the screen for the VP are positive vis-a-vis where Biden was, but they're still challenging for a Democratic candidate for president. Look, it's not ideal to be losing narrowly in Nevada and to basically be tied in Pennsylvania right now, because if you lose those two states, the path to the White House gets really complicated for a Democrat. But obviously, this is a lot better than where they were a few months ago. And also, guys, it's important to point out what she's also done. She stabilized down ballot. Because speaking of Democrats coming home, there were so many House and Senate Democratic candidates who were worried that they were now toast because Biden was so weak on top of the ticket. At the very least now, she's helped stabilize candidates who were looking for volunteers, who were looking for support, looking for contributions, and all that was drying up over the summer. Now, at least, I think a lot of folks down ballot feel better about their chances.
Yeah. In a race like this, a rising tide really does lift all boats.
Yes.
But it really does. And it's exactly what's happening here.
Y'all give me a one in here if y'all see where this is going. This is getting ready to be really interesting. I've been listening, and it's already, and tell me if y'all get the language that I'm getting. I'm getting the language as if they saying she's gonna win ultimately. And what they're trying to do is get people comfortable with that, to see the pulse and how they feel about this. But is it me? But is it me that's seeing this? I'm like, they are building the narrative, getting people prepared. Understand, the system doesn't just do it. They try to get you to buy into it. And once they get you to buy into it, you're in. So I'm gonna keep going.
Donnie, I was saying that the evidence that young voters were coming home to Democrats was anecdotal before. Now we see the numbers that is happening. I suspect it will continue to happen. But, you know, that was Joe Biden's biggest challenge. As has been pointed out here, it's not that Donald Trump is losing voters. It's that Kamala Harris is picking up voters that were staying away. But younger voters coming home, people of color, voters coming home, women, more women moving to Kamala Harris in her direction. I think especially important, though, even though they don't vote as much as older voters, younger voters, the energy that is now behind Kamala Harris is just so striking. And I say that mainly anecdotally, but there's so many younger voters that were going to sit it out or just had no connection to Joe Biden, but now want to volunteer, that want to go to rallies, that want to make phone calls. It's pretty striking, just the difference a month makes.
2 words, and you guys have talked about it: hope and change. If you look back the last 30 years, when the Democrats have had that enthusiasm, that kind of wave that we're feeling with Bill Clinton. I worked on Bill Clinton's campaign in 1992, did advertising, and of course with Barack Obama, you had that hope and change. Hillary Clinton, you couldn't sell that, and she lost. Joe Biden, he won, he squeaked it out, but there wasn't that enthusiasm. Why? Because you couldn't sell hope and change. When you have that, you're almost unbeatable. That's kind of what you mentioned. Every constituency, young people, people of color, they want hope, they want change. Pretty much everybody wants that. Even if you're happy in your life, you say hope. You want more hope? Yeah. You want more change? Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the wave that's happening. And that's what the Cook Report is saying. That's what all the anecdotal things are saying. So when you have that, as I said, those magical 2 words, and Donald Trump can stand on his head. There's one thing he can't give you is change, and he certainly can't give you hope. He's going in the opposite direction. So once again, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, hope and change.
And the word you keep hearing with these rallies is joy. People are happy to be there. They're enthusiastic. And contrast that with Donald Trump on X for 2 hours, with Elon Musk just laying out his grievances. A very different picture there. A number inside your report, Amy, that will hearten the Harris campaign is this independent number, which 3 months ago, Donald Trump, in your analysis, +3, now Harris +8. That's a huge number. It
is a big movement, and it's a lot of independent women that are coming over and right now supporting Harris. I think, to Jonathan's point, when you look at who those undecided voters are, or people who are still saying, maybe I'll vote third party, they are very cross-pressured on the following. They feel very anxious about the economy. They do feel like inflation is getting worse at a higher level than the overall electorate. They don't like Donald Trump personally. I mean, I feel like we're just we've been rerunning this same playbook now for a long time of voters who say, well, I mean, I kind of liked his policies when he was president. Oh, I don't really like how he acts. And so those voters, how Harris talks to those voters, how she's able to, as Jonathan pointed out, persuade them that she's going to be able to deliver for them. And more important, if Trump can stay on the message about the economy. But again, I feel like we have this conversation over and over again. If only he would stick to a message on the thing that he's actually winning on.
Yeah, that's a lot of people inside the campaign and the Republican Party would like him to do the same thing. He's not. Jane Mort, I want to underline something that you said. I think it's so important for people watching. Yes, these numbers have shifted. Where we are right now, though, if you look at all these numbers, kind of where we were a month ago as far as this race being close. This is still tied. This race is tied right now. Now, it's tied with a slight lean to Harris. A month ago, it was tied and with a slight lean, except in Nevada and North Carolina. If you look at those numbers in May, with a slight lean in all the states that really make a huge difference. It was, so it's Harris +2. Now in Arizona, it was Trump +1. Tied in Georgia, it was Trump +3. You go down this list, everything except for Nevada and North Carolina. Those are all within the margin of error. This race is tied.
Yeah, Joe, we're in an era of political trench warfare.
Now, let's look at this. It shows that Arizona, Harris now. Wow. Wow. Very interesting. Hold on. Let me see if I can cut off the closed caption so y'all can see it. This is very important.
This is World War I in American politics. Amy mentioned the same conversation that we've all been having for 9 years. Well, yeah, because we're a 51-49 country and Democrats have an advantage. But obviously we have an electoral college, not a popular vote. So it's a toss-up country, and it has been now for the last 3 presidential elections. But two things. First of all, if you look at Georgia and North Carolina in that graphic you just showed, this is important to focus on too. And it does show the possibility that Kamala Harris could galvanize black voters in a way that we haven't seen since 2012 in American politics. Look at that number there, where she obviously has moved numbers in Georgia and North Carolina, both states with significant black populations. Boy, if she can win Georgia and North Carolina, that really, really changes the equation, because obviously it creates less pressure on her to carry all 3 of those states in the Great Lakes.
Very interesting. Another, I'm playing another video for you. Remember when I said he said it was going to be hacked? So I'll play some for y'all.
Foreign sources, the Trump campaign saying it's been hacked by what it is calling foreign sources who are trying to interfere in the 2024 election. I'm joined now by CNN contributor Lulu Garcia-Navarro and CNN political commentator S.E. Cupp. It's great to see both of you here on the Saturday afternoon. Essie, let's start first with you. There are shades of 2016 to this, as our reporter Jeremy Herb was just kind of laying out. And we have known that foreign actors want to interfere in the U.S. election.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge problem. It's not a problem that we're unprepared for, but it's good to be a constant reminder that hacking, disinformation, this is a big part, especially by foreign entities. This is a big part of why, as voters, we need to be really educated, diligent, vigilant, all the things, because so much information is flying at us from so many different places, especially on social media. It's hard to know what's real. It's hard to know what's fake. And now with these leaks, we're, potentially getting access to things that we're not supposed to see. Any campaign would be very upset to learn that their sort of, their secret weapon, the plans that they have are being shared potentially with the press and then potentially with voters.
Right. And it still remains to be seen. It's very early in all this, what was in this hack, what are in these documents. Lulu, former President Trump famously asked Russia in 2016, Russia, if you're listening, find Hillary Clinton's emails. Now the Trump campaign has been hacked. If you're the Trump campaign, how serious of an issue is this? How concerning is this?
I mean, it's hugely concerning, not only for the Trump campaign, but for any American. I mean, this, if indeed it is a foreign government trying to interfere in our election, we should all be concerned about that. I think Politico at this point has been very judicious in reporting about getting these documents, but so far not distributing them and telling law enforcement about this so they can investigate it. I mean, the Trump campaign is trying to spin this, saying that this is potentially Iran trying to attack the former president's campaign because of his own actions. We don't know really who is behind this yet. We do know that America has many enemies. We do know that there are many countries in the world that want to interfere in America's elections: China, Russia, North Korea. I mean, the list is very, very lengthy. And we all, as Essie was saying, need to be very vigilant.
Yeah, and we will certainly be following the story as we get more information. It is truly a breaking story at this point, with new information coming as the minutes and hours go by. I want to talk, Essie, a little bit about this campaign and the strategies on both sides in particular. We saw the former president holding that news conference this week and then this rally last night. He's really been going after Harris, questioning her Blackness, questioning her intelligence. I want to play a clip and then ask you a question on the other side.
Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ. But we'll find out about her IQ during the debate. Okay, let's find out about her IQ.
So, Essie, both of these campaigns want to grow their coalition. That is how you win a race. More voters.
What is the Trump and Kamala Harris debate? Hold on. I haven't heard of a definitive date yet. Has anybody heard yet on when that debate's supposed to happen? Have y'all heard of a date? September 10th. Okay. That's going to be, again, another interesting point in time. Let me see, y'all. We're going to keep this going.
Vote for you than the other person. So I'm curious why the former president thinks that attacking Kamala Harris in this very personal way is going to bring in new voters. Do you think that's a good strategy?
Yeah. No. And listen, I host another show on another network called Battleground, and the point of it is to talk to swing state voters. I talk to them every day, and they don't care to litigate Kamala Harris's race. They don't care about childless cat ladies. They have problems and they want solutions. And if you're Trump and JD Vance going into these swing states, the states that will determine this election, talking about Kamala Harris's IQ or punishing people who don't have children, these are not solving problems that they have. And in fact, a lot of swing state voters, especially women, are turned off by these very personal attacks. So there's a reason why voters in swing states, many of them are uncommitted, undecided. They are waiting for solutions to problems that they have. Trump is not offering that yet. Harris and JD Vance, for their part, have not yet laid out their agenda either. So, everyone's kind of waiting for the substance of this election to kick in. Trump seems very sort of scattered with Harris now on the Democratic ticket. And Harris Vance are obviously just getting in and just getting started. But they also need to tell voters, we're not just a campaign of vibes, right? We're gonna solve some problems. Here's how.
And Lulu, Harris in Arizona, in Nevada yesterday and then today, they are obviously hoping to put these states that maybe were going to be out of reach for Democrats back into play there in the Sun Belt, where the voting blocks can be more diverse. Of course, Latino voters in both of those states play a very key role. Latino voters are not monolith. Of course, they care about independent things and different things. But how impactful do you think yesterday's endorsement from the League of United Latin American Citizens might be to this race in those particular states?
I think it was important. I think the Culinary Union, which actually always leans Democratic, is important. But what happens there is that they end up going door to door. They have very robust get out the vote campaigns. Latinos respond to that. They like to see people face to face. It is a difficult demographic to reach often, but a very important one, vital to this election, especially in those states. And so it is increasingly important. And you're seeing Vice President Harris hone her immigration message. We saw it yesterday in Arizona, where she talked about being tough on the border, but she also talked about a pathway to citizenship. And this is the line that she is going to try and navigate while appealing to people who want to see the southern border locked down, who are concerned about illegal immigration, but also to the base and to Latino voters who want to hear.
Very interesting. I'm telling y'all, me being a kid in a household with people that dealt with politics my whole life, pretty much majority of my life. Being around people who deal in politics, who are politicians, I was blessed to be able to see some of the back conversations and seeing some of the things that happened in the back. Literally, what they're doing is swaying the vote by promoting a narrative on on TV through media. And what they do is they will make you think Kamala's swinging more towards the win. Because what happens is some people will say if she's winning, some people will choose not to vote. But what I think that what's going on is people are not like that anymore. They're still going to vote. They're still going to push their people, but it's just for those who are undecided. Those are the ones that they're concerned about. They're not really concerned about diehard Trump fans because they know pretty much they can't go nowhere with them. They're not really concerned about those who follow Kamala. Kamala's not worried about those who follow her. They're concerned about is the undecided, that middle ground, those who don't really know. And I think all of us know that. But the ones that really don't know who they want to vote for, or even the people that don't want to vote, their goal is to get them into the polls. And then also they're more concerned about the ones that are heavy hitters, the states that can change a vote, like Ohio can change a vote. I think Florida can change a vote. Certain states that are undecided right now that can change a vote. So that's the concern right now.
About what you will do to help the people in this country actually become legalized.
And what I keep hearing from both of you and from so many people like yourselves who are experts and analysts that do talk to voters, they want to hear, SE, about solutions. They want to hear they have problems. They want to hear what somebody might do about them. I know you're telling us you talk to them a lot. I'm just curious, what are they saying to you? What are some of the issues? I mean, we see the polling, it's the economy, and is usually at the top. But what are you hearing from people who are going to make a difference in the fall when they vote?
Yeah, I mean, every state's different. And in fact, inside every state, right? Like Flint, Michigan voters care about different things than Bloomfield Hills voters in Michigan care about. So it's important to be on the ground and ask those questions. But there are overarching themes. Voters care about the economy. They care about the cost of goods. That goes from cars down to groceries. They care about housing prices. We're hearing that as a consistent theme, especially in growth economies like Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina. These are big, big issues for voters. The cost of housing being sort of locked out of buying a new home or a first home is a common theme. We hear a lot about immigration and strengthening the border, strengthening lowering.
Housing is always going to be a question. Good thing is, I tell people, I say, if you have houses in your family, keep them within your family. Because housing is consistently going to go up. We have, my family, we have a house that is within our family. And that right there will be able to sustain you. Right now, if you bought one before COVID, or if you already have something that is in the family, anything after COVID, if you're trying to buy something, it's going to be ridiculous as far as a house. And we see that in the housing market. And that's going to be the biggest conversation. Wealth ties to land and property and houses. That's true wealth.
And crime, making cities and towns safer. We also hear a lot about abortion. We do. We hear a lot about women's rights, especially since there are now many states in which that is actually on the ballot.
Yeah, it is going to be so interesting to see how this unfolds in just this condensed time frame. Lulu Garcia Navarro and Essie Cupp, my thanks to both of you.
So today's the day. I've got my art.
This is going to be interesting, y'all. I'll say that much. I'm very much so intrigued by this. I'm very much so intrigued by the concept of who is going to win and who's not going to win. And the aftermath. The aftermath is what's going to be the most interesting. That's going to be the thing right there. I would say if somebody said their TV is put up, I would say dust it off and put it up and watch it, because during the election, it's going to be a tense time within the country. It's going to be so tense. It is. And again, we're not too far away from what's going on in the UK happening here. And Hold on one second. Hold on one more second.
Tim Walz's Battleground State Tour seems to be paying off
Okay, that's
in the
why I answered the
polls.
door.
The New York
Okay,
Times
thanks.
Siena poll has the Democratic ticket leading in 3 key battleground states. She has a 4-point edge in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Those are all states that Harris and Walz made stops in last week. And on the Republican side, former President Donald Trump will be looking for virtual eyes tonight. Trump is returning, at least for the moment, to do a new live interview Monday on X with its owner, Elon Musk. The platform, formerly known as Twitter, had banned the former president following the January 6th riot. His account was reinstated after Musk took over the platform in 2022. For more on all of this, Bob Costa and Weijia Jiang join us. Bob is with me here in studio, and Weijia is at the White House tonight. Thank you both for being here. Bob, I want to start with you. These poll numbers, Kamala Harris has a slight edge, but the margin of error is also 4 points in these polls. So we know this is going to be a tight race through the fall. But I'm curious what you make of this race, changing a bit.
It appears, based on this recent poll, that Vice President Harris is keeping together President Biden's coalition in the industrial Midwest and some of these other battleground states, but obviously exciting Democrats who might have been on the sidelines, or some traditional Republicans or non-voters who have been so far a little bit lax when it comes to engaging with this campaign.
And Weijia, I'm curious what you were hearing covering the Harris campaign, what they make of these numbers. I mean, last week you were telling us about how this is a campaign that sees themselves as the underdog.
And that's exactly what the vice president said during a rally over the weekend in Las Vegas. When this poll came out, she said, let's not pay too much attention to the polls because we know it's going to be very tight until the very end. And she said again during this huge rally that we still have a lot of work to do, because the concern is that all the momentum that we are seeing will start to dwindle. And obviously, she wants to remind people that there's still plenty of time left between now and November for things to change again, which is why they're not celebrating too much these polls. But internally, sources are, of course, excited. And, they say the reason it matters to them mostly is because it validates the change on the ticket, the top of the ticket, because Biden never had this kind of lead. So I think that's the reference point that they're looking at. Not exactly just Trump, but Harris v. Biden, showing that she is doing better than he ever was.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because the Trump campaign told us last week that their own internal numbers show that Kamala Harris has consolidated the Democratic base and has been successful in rallying the base. So that's a significant movement.
Bob, you, Ouija, and I have all covered Donald Trump for a long time, and we know that Twitter, now known as X, is so a part of him. The idea that he is returning tonight to do this interview with Elon Musk on X, what does that say to you about kind of where this campaign is right now?
He is going back to a social media platform that was a huge help for his campaign in 2016 when he was just starting to enter presidential politics. His tweets drove the conversation in 2015 and 2016, helped him win the White House in the sense of providing him with his ability to, as he once told me, dive into the news cycle, to just kind of see what's happening, weigh in on it, offer commentary. And he's built his own Truth Social platform that has provided him with an ability to have this kind of long form space to write mini essays and posts and sometimes screeds against his opponents. But by coming back to X, he's also aligning himself a little bit more with the Elon Musk orbit, which is a certain kind of conservative tilting person who's very plugged in with Silicon Valley technology and often Republican politics.
And Ouija, I know you covered the Trump White House, so I know those late night tweets were part and parcel of everything you had to deal with covering the White House. But I also want to ask you about Harris and some policies she's been introducing. Because at a rally over the weekend, she said that her administration would get rid of tax on tips for service workers. I know today you asked the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, about this. Of course, this was something that Trump announced that he would do a couple of months ago. What did she say? What did the White House say?
So the reason we are pressing on this, Caitlin.
I'm back. Interesting thing is this, and I want to play some videos because I really want to play a lot of these, and then towards the end, I'll get deeper into my thoughts. And if we have time, I'll probably pull up a few people like Doug to come up. You know, Doug is just uncensored in every sense of the word. That's my buddy right there. And anybody else that wants to join in, hot sauce, anyone that wants to join, just as long as you are civil. That's the key word. But with that being said, I want to play a couple of them so y'all can really look at this. But the interesting part with this eliminating tax on tips, the beef on the street right now is that Trump said it first, and then Harris followed up and said the same thing. So it's like they're saying that she stole that from him, the concept of eliminating tax on tips.
Is because this is one of the first policy proposals that we have heard from Vice President Harris, along with raising minimum wage. As you mentioned, she says that she supports eliminating taxes on tips, which in Las Vegas, where she made this announcement, is a huge deal for the people who work in the service industry, in the restaurant industry. But as you mentioned, this is an idea that Trump rolled out in June, and he accused Harris of stealing it from her. In fact, he wrote on X, as Robert was just mentioning, about how she copied his idea. So we were trying to drill down on whether that was true or whether this was an organic idea of hers, something that she and President Biden have discussed before. So here's what she had to say.
At 46, perimenopause weight gain hit me until I learned about these 4 things. 4 things my doctor told me about menopause. Number 1, the bloating. Listen, when I was stuck in the throes of menopause, I had to wear things to camouflage my belly as I'd look pregnant otherwise. Worse than that, though, I was in pain. My midsection felt so puffy and heavy. Sometimes I even felt like there was a sharp set of cramping daggers inside of me.
Obviously it's a new idea. I'm just saying that we support it, but we have been doing the work, right, for hardworking Americans to lower cost. And that is something you're going to see that on Thursday with both the president and the vice president when they make an announcement on other ways or other additional ways to lower cost.
So before that, there were several other attempts to just try to get some clarity about whether this is an idea that the Biden-Harris administration had ever considered in the past 3.5 years. And you heard her say there that it's, in fact, a new idea. And the reason, again, why this matters is because we have heard very few ideas at all from the vice president about her plans to, increase, to help the U.S. economy.
Yeah, and we'll see if more rolls out over the next few days before the Democratic National Convention. Bob, meanwhile, J.D. Vance has been doing a lot of interviews, and he actually advocated for a policy that is more in line with what Democrats have proposed. Let's take a listen.
I think one of the things you can do is make it bigger per child. I think we'd love to see it at a higher dollar value. And again, President Trump and I have proposed that. I mean, look, I'd love to see a child tax credit that's $5,000 per child. But you, of course, have to work with Congress to see how possible and viable that is.
He's talking about a child tax credit. And again, all of these policies, we'll see whether a Congress can pass them. But what do you make of that? And also the idea that J.D. Vance was on all the Sunday shows this weekend trying to make a point.
It's a new point, but actually an old point from Senator J.D. Vance. He is wading into a debate inside the Republican Party about tax policy that's been going on for a long time. In fact, the first time I ever encountered J.D. Vance was he was a writer getting his kind of sea legs as a commentator over a decade ago, writing in conservative publications. And at that time, there was a debate over the child tax credit in the briefest possible terms. People like the Wall Street Journal editorial page, the editors there, oppose child tax credit on an ideological ground. They say that providing all of these tax credits crowds up tax policy, that tax policy should be clean cut, it should be rate driven, and should not be about credits for this group, credits for that group, because that, in their view, on a conservative movement level, leads to tax policy that's favorable towards certain constituencies rather than having a wholesale effect on the economy that's broader in how it's enacted by Congress and how it's interpreted and understood by taxpayers. Vance, though, is part of this group of conservatives who say we do need to encourage social policy and traditional family values as they see it through tax policy. So it's a melding of economic policy with social and ideological positioning that has really created a debate that's been over a decade plus in the conservative movement. Vance is definitely aligned with saying the only way for the
Hey, Doug, if you're not busy, hop on. I want to hear your or the Jay Hostile. I didn't know you was out here. Any of y'all just want to hop on and say something. I want to see what your viewpoints are.
the Republican Party to expand its coalition is to bring in new families who might not have a political tilt toward the Republican Party. A tax credit's a way to kind of provide them an impetus to come in. For Trump, it's interesting because he's so aligned sometimes with the business wing, but he put on the ticket someone who is more willing to tinker and tweak tax policy.
Yeah, and we'll see if that has an appeal among those persuadable voters, particularly in the suburbs that both of these campaigns are trying to reach. A lot of policy discussion on this politics show, so we were glad to have both of you, Bob Costa and Weijia Jiang, to break it all down for us. Thank you so much.
Mr. Doug, come on up here, Doug. Doug, you're welcome. Come up here. I want to get your viewpoint. I love talking about politics with you. And anybody else that wants to be involved, come on up. The reason I'm calling out Doug, because me and Doug kind of share in our viewpoints when it comes to certain aspects of the system and how this overall election is going to look. Again, this election is going to be a game changer. One second, I got another video.
Welcome to the News Hour. The top issue for many voters, the economy, took center stage today as former President Donald Trump returned to campaign in a battleground state.
His North Carolina rally followed a scattershot news conference at his Mar-a-Lago estate and a meandering conversation with Elon Musk on X in just the last week. Laura Barone-Lopez has our look tonight at the latest.
Donald Trump back on the campaign trail, trying to get back on message. The former president rallied in a battleground state for the first time.
My buddy Doug, what's going on with you? Can you hear me, Doug? Can y'all hear me? I actually charged up my AirPods, y'all. I hadn't charged them up in weeks, I think, because I couldn't find them. But until Doug is ready, I can't hear you, Doug, but 1 second. I'm going to finish playing this video.
In a week and a half.
Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse.
In Asheville, North Carolina this afternoon, he talked about the economy, one of the top issues for voters, and he slammed his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, for her economic record.
If Harris wins this election, the result will be a Kamala economic crash, a 1929 style depression. 1929. When I win the election, we will immediately begin a brand new Trump economic boom. It'll be a boom. We're going to turn this country.
Doug, you here?
Oh, I'm here. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on with you?
Man, I am. I'm doing a lot this morning. I'm watching them slowly lose their collective minds. I was going to do a show today a little later in the afternoon, bring it all together for folks. Yesterday was lively, I thought. I thought yesterday was quite lively. Yes.
It was.
What do you think? I mean, I know you're watching as I'm watching, as we are all watching, and the distance between us and them grows. The chasm between us and them is growing.
It is.
You know, I see them drifting more and more into obscurity, into relegating.
Insanity, being in the realm of insanity. And that's
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like your fingers are gripping at a cliff, slowly slipping, and you anticipate the fall. This is what we are witnessing, the anticipation of their fall. This is what we are witnessing.
And
they
I
know.
agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, they know that this is soon to come to an end, and more importantly, Sister E, they know the reasons. They're not ignorant as to the reasons this has to end.
And the thing is, and I'm trying to pull, hold on 1 second. No, I just got a text message. But Hot Sauce, you're welcome to come up here as well. But I see where you're going with this, and I agree ultimately. This is the most unhinged, I've never seen it like this. And like I said, I've been in politics my whole life. I've been around politicians my whole life. And I've sat in those press conferences and watched it. This is the most, I don't want to say unbalanced, but I think right now, all the issues that we have going on, this is the most, how can I say? I'm trying to find the best way to put it. This is the most emotional presidential election I've ever seen.
Well,
and they have the right to feel like that.
More than that, though, and I think biblically we can all agree that the common sense of these people has been lost. And I've said it on my show, and if you've heard it, you know, they've hollowed themselves out, and now they're left with this specimen you're looking at. And this is the apex. This is the best they have. And if you look at what sits behind this rancid, putrid, feckless piece of human waste, are those that reflect his values, his ideologies, his beliefs, and they have full control of the narrative when it comes to the dynamics within their own society. And they are leaning toward a right-wing white nationalist bend that will culminate in the repeat of history. I'm telling you this. These people are headed toward Nazi Germany. I don't think they're gonna make it to the election. I don't. I think the shots are gonna start firing before then. I do.
And the thing is, I'm gonna be honest. I think they are gonna make it, but after the decision is made, is when all hell is gonna break loose.
That might be right. You're right. Yeah, between November 3rd or whenever they're elected, I don't vote. So November and the time whoever wins gets into office. Now, if Kamala wins between that time, November and January, Donald Trump is probably going to be moving like a madman to foment a civil war.
And he didn't have to. It's already there.
It is. They're baking it in now.
Yes.
They're baking it in. I saw a video just a few moments ago about the Ku Klux Klan and these white supremacist groups that are right now making plans to take action in the event that Trump loses. And the plans are sinister, and they involve victimizing Negroes, as if we, in some way, shape, or form, have any real affect on what happens in American politics. We don't. The best we can do for them is to go to the polls, and that's the worst we can do for ourselves.
And the thing is, I'm listening to people. When I hear Dr. Umar make sense, that's when it's a problem. And Dr. Umar is making a lot of sense right now. I heard a conversation, he explained the point of Black people when it comes to the vote. And how it is not going to work for us, and how it definitely is not working for us right now. And nobody wants to have that real hard conversation of, when you bring up reparations, people just cringe. They don't want to talk about it. And they literally made it a joke now, which is fine. Y'all can do that. I don't really care much, because at the end of the day, when y'all says give, you gonna have to give it. But ultimately, it's just we're seeing the very fabric of what we know, what we even consider to be comfortable, falling apart before our eyes. This election is going to be a daggum nightmare. It's going to be crazy for them. And it's going to be crazy between here until the election day. I literally see what's going on in the UK happening over here.
Oh, absolutely. The UK is a microcosm of what will eventually occur in the United States. They're going door to door, checking the doors of empty victims they might victimize because they are of a different skin tone and an immigrant. But I want you to know this, sister. They've hired over 300,000 poll watchers.
Wow.
I need you to hear that. The Republican Party has hired over 300,000 quote unquote poll watchers. Now, I don't know, if you are familiar with brown shirts and what Nazis did during World War II, but this is how they were structured out. This is a part of the mechanism of implementing a fascist society. And these white folks would rather lose their privileges. They would rather lose their rights than to take a second fiddle to anyone, than to be put under anyone. I can tell you that right now. They don't care.
Yep. And the crazy thing is, I'm glad you said fascism. That totalitarian mindset.
Totalitarian?
Yes, that's totalitarian. Y'all know I'm horrible with words. That's going to be the goal ultimately, because these parties are going to, I can really see it in the near future. If in the future, it's only going to be what we consider to be Republican, Democrat, all that is going to shift and change.
No, it's not going to shift and change. It's going to vanish. Donald Trump, listen, folks, if Trump gets in there, let's just say a miracle for them happens and he gets elected, he's not leaving. He's not going to leave. He's already said that you don't have to worry about voting anymore. He loves fascists. He loves dictators. And the issue is, Sister E, as bad as they treat Negroes, as bad as they treat us, you know who they treat worse? Themselves. They treat each other worse. And we lose sight of that, but they treat each other worse. The natives who were here, and watching them arrive, noticed that they treat each other horribly. And so what can we expect from them other than this? But I don't see two-party system. I see civil war if Kamala wins. I see the destruction of this country if Trump wins. And I think, I'm prepared for either circumstance because I'm just trying to find a way out. That's all.
People, they forget, we talk about slavery, but they forget about the serfs. You remember the serfs, which were considered to be peasants in the medieval time that were considered to be Great Britain, and they dogged them out. Look at the history of the serfs. They were considered to be the peasants of medieval Europe. They were literally forced to take care of the land. So that peasant class is not that far removed, and I tell people that it's not that far removed. And for people,
the Brits are. The British really kind of have a weird racism. They have a very odd kind of racist sentiment that involves class mixed in with skin color. And so, but they're less disciplined with no weapons because nobody carries guns over there. So when they get off the rails, they do this. And now this can be expected. They seek out retribution from a phantom person, whoever it is. They can. And let me tell you something. I do this. I say this a lot. The only thing restraining these individuals from doing something to us at their own whim are the consequences. You remove those consequences, and these people will find a reason to lynch us. I'm trying to tell. I don't think people understand that the dormancy of their racist sentiment can be ignited simply through the removal of consequences and a little bit of alcohol. You give that mixture to these white folks, and you'll have a hung Negro in no short time. Sorry.
The difference. No. You said the great thing about that's the only thing that's keeping them from doing is the consequences, the aftermath. Because I've been watching a lot of the UK and the US debates going back and forth, and these diaspora wars are very interesting to me. Because right now, we're considered to be. I hate to say it, and to all my brothers and sisters in here that are not from America, I still love you. But we're considered out of our own people to be the ones that they hate the most. They hate the most. But with that, they've been coming at us, calling us, y'all were slaves, y'all were weak. And what's going on now? The people in the US doing the diaspora wars and saying, wait a minute, UK, Black Brits, come on now. And I'm not knocking about Black Brits. Those are my brothers, and I don't rock with the diaspora wars. But with that being said, the difference in us and them is the consequence. I'm not gonna say UK doesn't have great consequences, but the difference is I have guns, they have knives.
Exactly, and the consequences, we here in the United States take after these Neanderthals, and so some of us are armed to the teeth as they are, practice shooting every day. So Bubba ain't gonna just walk up to the brother and just decide he gonna call him the N-word without that possibility. We just had a brother that was sentenced to I don't know how many years. He shot and killed one of these individuals determined they wanted to call us. He didn't want to hear that word come out of his mouth no more. Another one punched a guy in the face, I believe, and killed him or something. Look, man, there's a thread. I hope people hear this. There's a thread that keeps disaster from occurring to us in this country, and that thread are those consequences. I did not an experiment, but I thought about the fact that if no one was coming to help us, what would they do? If no one was coming to help us, what do you think they would do to us?
But you know what? Being truthful, we're used to nobody coming to help us.
This is true. This is true. Maybe help isn't the right word. I meant if no one would respond to something that occurred to us. Okay. If no one was there to take a report, In other words, if we moved to police and emergency services and these folks were sitting as neighbors next to us, it would only take a matter of time and a few drinks of alcohol for them to find something to be disgruntled about regarding Negroes as associated with them. And before you know it, our homes would be burned out. Our homes would be, our neighborhoods would be put underwater. We'd find Negroes hung and lynched all over the place because there's no consequence. This is the reason it's dangerous to be here. The only thing that's holding these people back are those circumstances. If they weren't there, we'd be in trouble.
And the thing is, the key to that circumstances being removed is not just the fact that we have access to guns. That fear factor is gone now. That fear factor that we once had of them coming and lynching and burning our houses have come short now. I heard somebody that say, I'm not my ancestors. I don't like to say that because our ancestors did the best they could at that particular time. But you got to understand what that term means is that sheer fear of white people out the window. Out the window.
Well, let me
and you saw that within the Alabama brawl. The Alabama brawl
yes, you did.
was an
Yes,
example.
you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you and it is true that we are not our ancestors in that docilic passivity we were forced to, but here's the thing. To counter that, I must say they are their ancestors. And that's what they keep saying. They keep telling us that they're not their ancestors. I beg to differ. When they get the chance and the opportunity, they take it to become their ancestors. You look at what happened to that woman in her own damn kitchen. I mean, one person's.
Let me say this real quick, and then you can chime in. If they were to become their ancestors, understand that we will not revert back to the way they had us in that past.
No, that will never happen. Yeah, that won't. Yeah, there's going to be resistance. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Nat Turners ready to go in this country. That's for sure. I don't think it's a prudent move. I think we should wait on the Most High. I think these people are going to come under some sort of inability to do anything to us when the time comes. But that aside, there are brothers and sisters with hammers ready to drive nails. So it won't be the kind of response. But we cannot expect that they'll be any less vicious. They will be as vicious as they were when they had us in chains. This is the fear I have. The brothers don't understand that the folks who grin and cheese in your faces every day have within them that sentiment that can be triggered at any moment in the right circumstance. What we got to do is just look at what's happening.
But with the same sentiment, we have that same thing. The brothers with the hammers that have no regard for each other. What you think they're gonna do to you?
That's true.
What you think these brothers been playing? These folks have been playing for. I hate to say it, and I'm not making it a positive point. It's not, but it's a true point. Our people been fighting this for so long to the point that they have become desensitized to war, desensitized to death. It's like we're no longer, it's not a thing of, we live it every day. You live in some of these neighborhoods and you see what you live it every day. So walking
what's
into
happening
something like that, it's not going to be a shocker to us. It's going to be more so the new enemy is not us, the new enemy is them. So while they're playing in their backyards, playing target practice, these brothers in the street been playing target practice the Wild Wild West for 30, 40 years.
And let me just say this, sister.
Setting that off is hard. It's hard. So
it is, but I want to counter that by saying this, and you tell me what you think. I don't think that's going to be their first targets, dear. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're not going to go in the hood. No, they're going to go to the affluent black neighborhoods, perhaps those areas where they find the weak. These are cowards. These Edomite heathen Europeans are cowards, and they go after low-hanging fruit. We can expect them to do what they do in the streets now. Go after our children, our innocent children, not the ones in Chicago that will shoot back at these Neanderthals. Oh, no. They'll probably let the military try handle them. This is the fear I have, because though you count on that experience we're having in places like Chicago to defend from these cretins, that's not going to be their first plan of attack. They're going to plan to attack the weakest of us. That's my biggest concern. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
they always do it.
They're gonna argue, but the thing is,
there is a point. I read this book called, have you ever seen the movie World War Z? I read the
Yes.
book. And the book had and I said this before, had one little section in it where they were getting prepared to go to war with the zombies. And the zombies, they had these men that were getting ready to go to war with them had guns, grenades. They thought they were prepared. And when they went to war with them, they did not take into the mindset of they had nothing to lose. So they had no turn off trigger. So you can shoot them and they're going to keep coming. They kept coming,
Right.
and their weapons could not beat them. And they said they had no capacity to stop. When you get a people that's tired and burned out and sick of it, and you put that spark in their head to say, enough is enough, I'm standing my ground. Their mindset is, our mindset is different than theirs. When you have, and the man said in the book, and it made so much sense, he said, why the zombies beat us? Because we had all the guns and artillery to fight, to beat them, but they had the drive of they have nothing to lose. When you get that
we're
mindset,
getting there.
When you
They'll push us there. Now, at that point, sister, when they push us to that point, at that point, we're Negroes, and they know this. So they know that there will be a point. I mean, they can certainly come to terms with murdering a few of us, but after a certain point, it will be a bit overwhelming for them. They probably will. But again, I put nothing past them. I would love to hear. I don't put anything past them, but I yield and allow you to give the floor to someone else.
Oh, keep going. I'm enjoying this. Hey, Berean Scholar, nice meeting you.
I'll talk y'all into a coma. That's the problem.
No,
see,
that's the purpose. No, keep talking.
see, it's 9:38 in the morning where I'm at. I'll be doing this at 9:38 in the evening.
Come on, I'm good for it. I'm good for it. Huh? Berean, we can hear you. I guess he's having. It's so weird to call someone Berean and it's not Berean on Berean channel.
I know.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
We can
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
All right. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I found that out after I started my channel that it was another Berean.
Yeah. Well, sister, let me ask you this though. Yesterday's soiree. Go ahead.
Ask, especially you. Yes, we know there's gonna be major chaos because of.
Okay, let's go on, Berean. Let's give him a chance.
Is it him or is it us?
It's him. It's him. He's trying to get set
It's
up.
okay. It's okay. I was going to comment on yesterday's. Yesterday's soiree resulted in someone doing a video about the show. I sent a copy to Jacoba, who was not really appreciative. He's like, I don't care what they think. You know how Jacoba is. He's like, I don't even care. I was like, oh, yes, sir. So
who did the video?
It was I'll send you the link as well. They did a full 54 minutes. I caught the last few minutes of it.
Oh, wow.
And I sent the video immediately, and it was literally my opinion on the debate between Te'ao and Brother Judah. And effectively, he's basically saying, they were cackling old men. That's basically what he was saying. Which was I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I sent it to Jacoby. He may have listened to it, which is why I got the response I did. He was like, I don't care about them damn fans.
Okay, I'm back now.
Oh, there you go, sir. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I had to rearrange my sound. It was a delay. But like I said, I was enjoying the conversation, and I pretty much agree there's going to be major chaos. Either way, this is going to come out. But I'm looking at the people sitting behind both sides. We both know that the same people playing both sides on this.
Well, here's the. I agree with you to a certain extent. There is a tug of war between these two ideologies in this country, and neither one of them good for us. Neither one of them good for us. But Are you saying that at the top of the food chain, there's just one person pulling all of the strings to make this happen?
One organization that controls all the money.
You're talking about BlackRock?
They're one of them. Yes, they're part of it.
BlackRock. Okay.
If you look at some of the organizations behind the Democratic Party, they involved, and some of the organizations around the Republican Party, they're involved too. So they play in both sides of this.
Right, to guarantee that they win either way. I understand that, and those individuals. I mean, I don't know her. I don't know Sister Eve's proclivity toward me saying the word Jews, but because some people say small hats.
Hey! What? I didn't hear that.
Okay, fine. Me, I'm reckless, and I have reckless abandon. Just check out my show sometime.
I like you. I like you.
So yeah, you're right in that respect. But again, this is all predicated on our being taken out of position. All of this is about us. To say that sounds egotistical, but it is not. The New World began with the start of the transatlantic slave trade, not the Arab slave trade, but the transatlantic slave trade. And these individuals have benefited from this offset position we've been put in for centuries.
Yes.
They didn't just take us, they took our land, they took the resources on the land, and they started bartering with those resources amongst each other, casting us at the bottom of the barrel, and then creating 3 religions to hand back to us as if they've discovered something new. That's how they did this. That's why we are at the bottom. And to say it's about us without an explanation, those may be sounding shallow.
Oh, I understand what you're saying, because it's about us, and then when they got here in the new land, they played us and the lower class whites that came over.
Exactly.
They played us against each other.
And until
rebellion and all the other laws that came out just to make sure that there was a split between that, so that we couldn't rise up again.
You know what's interesting is that white people, and this is just a fact, were a singular group of Anglo-Saxons before the late to mid 1800s. This is who white people were considered. Anyone outside of that was considered something else. It doesn't matter who they were, Slav, Norwegian, German, Italian, doesn't matter. They were not Anglos. And it wasn't until just before the 1900s, before the turn of the 20th century, that in order to increase the ranks of what might be considered white people, they included Italians and Poles and Czechs and Norwegians, all these people that were not Anglos. And so from that, you look at the name Anglo-Saxon, the derivative that they get it from, and you know the association. This is about us, because that group of people, those Anglos, those Britain group of people, I'm not to take you off topic, sister, but they claim, the King and Queen of England, they claim the personage of Israel, if anybody does their study. Not us. They don't say it's us, they say it's them. So it's our being taken out of position that has caused this condition today. And the wealth distribution to small hats and away from us has been going on since the Rothschild family sent 5 sons in 5 different directions to create the banking empire.
Yeah, yes.
So this has been a well orchestrated and detailed, precision-like maneuver to keep us ignorant more than anything. Not just poor, not just powerless, not just weak, but ignorant. It amazes me the impact of how stupid they wanted us to remain. They did not want us to read. The fact of the matter is, reading is what has started this particular activity, all this that's going on, shows like this, lives like this, the communication that we're having.
Yes,
and
that's the main reason. That's the main reason with the shell games between the names and all that.
Exactly.
And all that. And they played a great deal, a great mind. I'm gonna watch my words on the lower class whites, getting them to go against their own interests to keep us down. So this is a major this is all figured out, well organized plan.
It is. Hey, Yakoba, what's going
Yakoba,
on?
what up, man?
Hey, what's up?
He calm right now. He's trying to be calm.
He's all right. I hope he's okay.
I came out because Doug mentioned my name. Yakoba,
yes, sir. Always positively. Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that sends me any kind of video about Tail Ministries or about me, I never watch them, right? So, I just let y'all know now. Don't send me no critiques, nothing from anybody, because I'm not gonna listen to it. It's a waste of my time, right? Most people not intellectually astute anyway, right? It's all emotional and biases. So it's not like constructive criticism, right? It's just bias.
Send it to me
True,
because I
and
want all. Send anything that they say about me. Send it to me. I want all the smoke.
well, for me, it just seemed interesting because at first it occurred real quick, so which means they had it on their mind while it was happening, and then they got it together, put it together, and they were critical. I'm sure I wasn't able to catch any of it. I mean, just the last few seconds, then it went dead. But I can say the experience yesterday proves that audiences are attracted to specific speakers. This guy wasn't. Look, I listen to TL. I know that I'm gonna get receipts. I'm gonna get scriptures. I'm gonna get something to think about, and I'm gonna get a take it or leave it, eat the meat, spit the bone kind of delivery. And that's what I like. I get to think about what I'm being told. But this guy, I understand what he wants. He wants to be heard, and I understand he wants to be followed, and he doesn't want anybody to argue with him, and he wants to be right. Dude, Teo, I say this openly. I don't necessarily agree that Jerusalem is in Ethiopia. I don't.
You know why?
But why?
Because you haven't researched it.
This is true, but I'm also not going to be duped into thinking it's not where you say it is by someone not skilled enough to present a good argument. And I said that in chat.
And
I
let
would
me
lean,
ask you a question,
yeah.
Brother Doug.
Yes, sir.
Logically speaking, from a logical standpoint, right? Would God move the people across the street from the people they ran away from? That's just a simple question.
No.
Okay,
No,
that's
he
it.
would not.
I ain't gotta say no more.
No. There's no way that and I heard every point that you made in regards to you will never see them again. I heard that. And so again, I would lean toward your logic and reasoning and lean in your direction. But that guy yesterday did not really have any semblance of collective thought process. I couldn't follow him. Now, that's not to say he didn't make a few good points, because he did. But he didn't.
Did he? I mean,
he made a few. He made one or two good. He made one or two. He made points that I could think about, but nothing that convinced me.
Yeah.
When the one thing that you said was the reeds versus weeds, that kind of that kind
So he said the weeds instead of the reeds.
Right, that kind of locked it up for me. I didn't understand where he was going, dude. Let's stop with the real etymology. Weeds and reeds are two different things. Okay, but more importantly, the impacted statement you made was, distance. Yeah, you're not going to walk about. Yeah, exactly. They chased after him once they left. So why would the creator put them right back where they were? So it's not that I don't accept that Jerusalem is in Ethiopia. More than that, I need to kind of do a little bit more study, as you said. I need to piece it together and figure out what happened. It sounds as if you're onto something, but I couldn't make heads or hair of that other guy. So there it is. Boom.
Well, Sister E, I want to thank you for hosting it, because you did a great job. And I thought everything was handled professionally.
Yes.
Thank you. I try my best. I've been in. I guess I've sat in numerous debates and listened to how biases can throw a good conversation off. And watching people do that in the past year have taught me that I have to lay aside my personal biases and let people flow and talk and do their thing. And I tell people, I said, y'all know that me and Yaakova been rocking together since before COVID. That's when I really got to know these brothers, him and his brother Teo. So y'all know we've been in the thick of it, good, bad, and different, but we still call each other brother and sister at the end of the day. So they know that we all are, fairly close. But even with that, I wanted to let everybody know that I'm still not going to be biased in my viewpoint. I'm not going to let my biases seep into a good conversation. And that was the goal of pulling back and saying, you know what, to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to step aside and let LV and Karath run it. because people don't realize LV and Karaf, they know of Teo, but they're really more so in the other side of the spectrum. Karaf considers himself to be an Israelite. LV so much, he's not really rocking with that. He deals more with he's done stuff with WAC, what is it, WAC 100, those individuals. He does more stuff when it comes to the secular realm, but he still is a Bible believer, but he's more on the secular. If you check out his channel is dealing with a lot of secular topics. So that's why I wanted to pull them in, because I said I don't want people to think that, because I've sat in debates and watched people attack people because they're their own personal biases, and how it just destroyed a good conversation. That's how I'll never do that. So that was the goal yesterday. I wanted both of y'all to talk it out and bring out y'all's points and be, and just, I wanted to see y'all do y'all thing, and y'all did. Y'all did a great job. Jacoby, you did a great job. Spider Judah, always talking towards the end, he did a great job. Everybody did a great job. I just want to see this go further, because I do want people to have a place where they can be comfortable in knowing that me being an Israelite and me being Sis E, I will step aside and allow people to do their thing and be honest in it. And you got to be honest in it. So I enjoyed it.
A lot of people don't realize, even though, me, you, Minister Teo, Dante, we hang together, and as Sister E say, we don't agree on everything, but we are real. See, that's the difference, right? We don't put on for nobody. We are real. That's what I like about Doug. Doug is real, right? People who are real, I get along with.
Exactly. That's what I was saying yesterday. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to start no mess, but that's kind of comparative to this whole Sister Celestial thing. Not to get on a different topic, but it's delivery. It's allowing people to make up their minds. Brother Teo, I've been following you since well before 2016, 2017, when I woke up, shortly after I read Dante's book and Ron Dalton's book. So you inspired me so much that I started my own stupid show. And, when I hear what you say and you lay down the foundation, you use logic and reasoning, which is part of the reason I like reading what you present. I can put together what you're talking about. It's not done from ego. You're not trying to acquire a following, even though you have one. You're simply putting out vital information that we have to have at this moment in time, and you're doing it in a constructive manner. Now, compared to what I saw yesterday and the other offerings that they have out, and I watch everybody. I do. You can't believe how much I watch. The offering and the folks that he had representing him all just whiffed of cult and him wanting to be the guy that everybody looks to. And I'm like, look, dude, you wouldn't last 5 minutes of conversation with me.
Man, cult is the word, man. They were calling me a witch in the chat. They were saying I'm going to hell because I believe Ethiopia.
That's just cult. That's a cult. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're having this whole thing. Look, I'm anybody listen to me. The dude brought up you using the white man to substantiate, and I jumped in saying, well, hold up, bruh. He ain't using the white man to substantiate anything. What are you doing? We're talking about, this is a serious topic. He was coming from a different place, Jacoba. And his people that he brought with him, they were no help. He'd have done better just coming by himself and withstanding the pressure he could not stand. Because if I had to...
That's the art of the debate realm. One thing I did tell him is, if you go into Sinetta, y'all know Sinetta is thick. But what drives Sinetta's comment section is the audience. The whole thing is the audience. If a debater is coming, the debater is going to bring 200 of his followers with them, and vice versa. And that right there brings about, it brings another set of energy into the conversation. Because that's one thing I did tell him. I said, because his biggest concern was the fact of, Jacoba having such a large following. I said, that's fine. I said, bring your following with you, because then you can have some balance within that comment section. And truth be told, there are some people that follow Jacoba that do not believe that Ethiopia is the promised land.
Yeah,
So,
I'm one of those people, and
yeah.
I don't know if it's follow as much as I'm into education. Both my parents are teachers. I'm in education, so I more or less say I'm a voluntary student of TIL Ministries because they present it in an educational fashion. That's the only thing that draws me to his format because he's organized. He laid a foundation that I tried to follow, but as a student of TI Ministries, believe me, I mean, I'm a pretty independent, real individual. Okay. If I had a difference of opinion, I'd have a difference of opinion. This guy has followers. That dude had followers. You start calling people witches and shit. I was, excuse my language. I mean, what are you talking about? Let your boy talk. Let him get a little momentum, but they wouldn't. And I'm glad you made me moderator because I was just booting them.
And you was ready to boot. I said,
I
hold
was
on.
booting them.
Yeah, Doug is a good moderator.
I would
Yes.
tolerate that. Yeah, I like
And
having fun there.
I actually thought Doug was a moderator. When you said they give me, I said, I thought you were a moderator. So
No, I wasn't moderator. I wanted to
thought you
moderate
were.
because I saw some of the moderators. They're good and they're deleting comments, but you got to kick a person out once in a while. Just set a tone. Let them know.
Yeah, but I don't want us to get too far off. But that debate was good. Like I said,
It was.
I want to have more debates. I have people who believe that the Native Americans are that we are the Americans that we are the Native Americans, and we are the whole Native American narrative. I would love Dana Calloway followers to come in and have a debate with someone who believes the opposing side, which is African. I like I said, it's a lot of good things that I've heard in the past 5-6 years on each side that I would say these are good conversations. If people were given an opportunity to fully build their point out and explain their point, and the opposing side or the affirmative, I mean, it would be just a great teaching. So
But it's difficult to keep your mouth closed though when someone lets something come out of theirs that's just contrary to common sense. I will tell you that. I like having debates myself. But it's hard to let silliness go by without swatting it. That's just me.
I guess I've been sitting. I guess I've been sitting in Clubhouse long enough. I've heard so much foolishness that I just be like, I heard that. But I'm sorry.
In my opinion, Yakoba did an excellent job. And, if I was on the panel, I would have taken Judah the Hebrew to 1 Samuel 5, verses 8 to 9, and from verse 1 to 9, sorry. And that would have shown that Ashdod and another city, which is in that strip of land, are part of Palestine, of the Philistine, where the Philistines come from when the Ark of the Covenant was returning. But I did a post on Teo's page with some references and some Bible scriptures as well, showing that the rainfall, the geography, and everything does not match what Yahuwah promised, in scripture. And also Yahuwah says he causes rain to fall on the just and unjust. So he wouldn't just dry up the rain and change the land just like that. So, well done, Yakoba, as usual. It was an interesting debate, but I don't want to upset you, but if I were you, I wouldn't have debated him in the first place because he's got no points. He anchored himself to that little geographical place where he was, and that's where the problem is.
Yeah, punching down.
Yeah, the reason I did it because I thought it would be good for people to see someone with an opposing side to present their case to prove their point, which they can't, right? You literally just can't prove that dirt is our land. I'm like, it doesn't add up to the scripture. So, it is what it is.
Well, you did hold up well, and for all the whining about jumping on the guy, two on one, three. What are you talking about? The guy's not making sense. We're just trying to help him along. I think you did real good, John, and you were gracious until you got pissed off, which is all right with me.
Yeah, he's not a serious scholar at all, and his
Right.
sources wouldn't be taken in the academic world very seriously anyway. You can't use Wikipedia as a source. You know, anybody that's done an associate's degree knows that. And you know, the archaeological evidence is one of the strongest things that we use, you know, as well as scripture. And if the archaeological evidence doesn't match the scriptural evidence, which was one of the points that you were trying to make, Yakoba, then you know that evidence won't hold up at all. It's like forensic evidence and physical evidence when you're going to court to present them. If they don't match up, then the evidence is no good at all.
Say love.
Yeah. So let's get back on the subject of America Unhinged. Because I want to talk more about this because this is getting interesting as we get closer to the race, and especially what's going on within. At first, I want to ask Asif, have you seen any of the remnants of what's going on in the UK right now?
Oh yeah, I'm at the forefront of it.
Wow, what's
I'm
going
at the
on?
I'm at the forefront of it because it's something that I see day to day in my work life, and apparently, speaking to people that you know they're just tired of Hebrews being around, whether you're an immigrant or whether you're born here, because of our skin color. We're viewed as being aliens. And despite the fact that 45% of us are doctors and in the health service, and 20% of us are their nurses, and many of us are lawyers, and we operate in every sphere of the economy. They just want us out now. And I feel that it has to be that way because our people's become too comfortable in the position that they are. You know, it's not until our backs is against the wall, literally, and we cry out to the Most High, will He answer us like what He did in Egypt.
That's interesting. Berean Scholar, you never got a chance to really, you're new to me rather. I don't know about everybody else. And I do
Yeah,
want to give you a chance.
I was
Let's
trying to
go.
get in because my significant other reminded me that I had a scheduled games, and I jumped on this not telling her, and she's letting me know
Okay.
this. But I want to thank you guys because you know this is something that we need to do because like debates are beneficial, arguments are not. Debates brings out information, bring out knowledge, but and we need to do more of this. So I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to come on.
All right. More than welcome to come on whenever I go live. And if you, I know you sub Yakoba and Doug because
Doug sounds
those,
just like my older
yeah.
brother. I mean, I can listen to him. But he sounds just like my older brother.
He
I
really does
love
sound like
Doug.
you
He's
though.
awesome.
If you met him, y'all think y'all was twins. Y'all, voice, everything, voice flexion, everything.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
thinking,
Well, I'm not him, I don't think.
He's a piece of work, man. He's a piece of work.
Oh yes, I'm
But you
several.
always know where you stand with him.
Yes, yeah, you have to be 100% straight, real, and you just speak truthfully,
But
especially in these
peace be unto
circumstances.
all you guys. I thank you for the opportunity. But God bless.
God bless. I was saying to myself, Doug, that he sounds like you. I was
Oh,
sitting here
really?
saying, I said he sounds like Doug.
A little
But
bit, a little
yeah,
bit.
everybody chime in. I'm gonna be on for, let's say I got 30 more minutes. I want everybody to get their points, but what are y'all's thoughts of what's going on? Because I think the aftermath of this election is going to be it's not going to be pretty. I think January 6th times 10 is going to happen. Plus, what's going on in the UK is probably going to happen on this soil soon.
It's gonna get hot because it's clear to me that they already prepared to rig the election because in my opinion, Kamala stands no chance in hell of winning the election, but all of a sudden she's leading the polls when nobody respected her. Nobody thought she had intellect. I mean, she was not a good candidate, but all of a sudden she's a favorite candidate. So the media is already pushing the narrative. So if she wins, you won't be surprised.
But the Trumpsters, they're going to lose it. They're going to lose it.
It's not a clear first past the post system like other electoral systems over there that you got an electoral college system, so they can just meet amongst themselves and decide who they want to be president behind closed doors and overturn the will of the people, because it is still being maintained on other channels like Redacted that the election was tampered with. I'm being very diplomatic.
Well, I'm of the mind that in that vein, I think the decision has already been made. I think whoever's going to be president has already been decided. And right now, the mechanism through which this happens is what they're working out, the details. They want to try to navigate this without going through a civil war if possible. I also believe, as long as you're asking what's happening here, it might be a little more, a bit self-reflective in the long run to figure out what other nations are doing in response to what they might anticipate happening here. That to me is the most dangerous aspect of this, because you get inside the foreign mind, the Chinese mind, the North Korean mind, the European mind, the Middle Eastern mind. And these people think differently from these privileged, whiny little Americans, okay? And they understand the concept of not being untouchable. They know what it is to be touched. But if these hillbillies lose their minds and start shooting at each other, I'm anticipating a reaction from one of these foreign nations that just needs the United States pushed out of the way for them to move forward. These people may be digging their own graves. As they make plans to shoot at each other countries may be making plans to shoot at them.
Oh yeah, especially when you look at what's going on with the foreign nations, when you look at Russia, when you look at Iran, when you look at these other countries, they are pretty much like, it's interesting that what you would consider to be the black sheep of the nation, the table of nations now, are the ones that are coming together and building their own conglomerate to come after what we consider to be the European Union, which is NATO. Because that right there is the group that is being targeted by those other indigenous countries. When you look at Russia, when you look at China, when you look at North Korea, when you look at all these other countries that were deemed as being the bad guy or considered to be the villain in the room, are now causing us to see who the true villain is, and they're coming together. And with that being said, they're getting the traction that they need. And right now, the first thing that they did was a campaign war against their credibility and their reputation. And they've won that pretty much, because U.S. and Israel and the European Union as a whole is deemed as being the villain now. And they see them as the villain. So people are less amped to jump on, go USA. Everybody's like, USA, you got a lot of blood on your hands. And it's only going to get worse from here. So they pretty much won a campaign war. So if whatever these other countries want to do, it won't have as much impact as it would 20 years ago when they were considered the villain. And I hope that makes sense.
On an intellectual level, they've seen the hypocrisy of how the judicial system works in these global north countries at the micro level and at the macro level. You know, it only works against and was designed to work against Hebrews.
Yep.
That is a powerful truth. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they maintain the target on us cleanly, and they've done so for hundreds of years. And the lengths to which they've gone to make sure we don't rise on any level in this country and pretty much anywhere else gives an indication that there is something unique about us that they don't want let out. Because once it's let out, there's no putting it back. Once the truth of our identity is made clear, which is, I think, part of this mechanism that puts us into second Exodus mode, that is going to be, I think that's going to be the catalyst that just begins it all. I mean, against us personally. And this election and the attitude that the rest of the countries has toward the United States right now, I mean, what is it? I can't imagine what might break this this spell that we're under right now. Just get, when is it going to be us? That's my question. That's my interest.
I think the final nail in the coffin is going to be the fact of, like Russia Putin opened that book to let you know these are who the people are. It's how they look. I think once the election is shifted over to Harris, because I really think that they're gonna shift it over to Harris because Harris fulfills the 1%'s agenda, and then she's easily controlled. Whereas Trump, like I said, he's a wild card. I think that's when they're going to start campaigning to say UN, because the thing is, right now they're talking about war crimes. War crimes. They're trying to bring Israel in for war crimes. There is no true evidence of U.S. really being involved in war crime. The only evidence that they really have right now that I can see the UN using it as their tool to bring the U.S. down is you have yet to fulfill your promises when it comes to the transatlantic slave trade. You have yet to be brought before the international court system for what you've done. So we got to bring you before the court, and you're going to have to pay reparation. You're going to have to do this. I really believe they're going to use us as a tool to come after America because it's evidence. You can't hide that evidence. You can hide the rest of it that you've done, but you can't hide this. In fact, the people that you have here right now are descendants of them, and you made a promise to them that you were going to give them reparation, and you never did it. So I see them utilizing that as a tool, which will ultimately cause a big uproar then. But I might be wrong. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think they're playing 3D chess with Russian roulette, meaning they're gambling their life on this, but they've been plotting and planning this thing for the beginning. So, and most people might not agree with me, but if you look at the pieces, right? So, the United States in the 80s moved all their manufacturing to China. China was nothing. Yep. It was like Africa. And now they turned China into a world power within a couple of decades, right? So they knew that their industrial technology was a strategic advantage, but yet they were willing to take that technology and send it to China, right? For profit, for money that they print when they want it. On top of that, right, they're $34 trillion in debt, meaning they had no intention of balancing the budget.
Now.
Yeah, so they had no intention of balancing the budget, paying off their debts. They knew there was an end coming, so they prepared this. Now, if you listen to Putin, if you listen to the African nations, what they didn't like was the way the US dollar was used as a weapon against nations that did not comply, right? Even Putin was like, look, we weren't necessarily looking for a new currency, right? But you're using it against us as a weapon, so we had to do something. Now, that shows you that the fact that they wouldn't balance their budget, because nobody was looking to move away from the dollar globally because it worked for them. Right. But when they started using it as a weapon, and when you saw that they would not balance their budget, and now they're $34 trillion in debt and you can never pay that back ever, you know your goal was to let this economy fail. So they're creating this system to fail in order to have a multipolar system. And it has been said by some researchers that the elite always knew they could not have a unipolar system forever. So they knew they were going to roll over to a multipolar system. That's where we are now. Now, the question is, do they think that they can control the multipolar system that's coming into play? Right. And I think they won't, because I know within my heart that America is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, right? And she's going to be destroyed, but yet there's still a beast system that's going to remain. Right. So this entity called the beast, this world system, ain't going nowhere, but it's not going to have absolute power, right? But it's going to have absolute influence, right? So they win by controlling or having influence in this currency, this new currency that's about to come, right? This digital currency, which ultimately is going to be called what? Be part of the mark of the beast system, right? You can't buy, sell, or trade, right? They got this thing under control. which is why we need the Most High to defeat them. They are that strategic and powerful.
What's so funny is the concept that you just explained is what you call bankruptcy. They came up with the concept of bankruptcy. So the best way to not have to pay your creditors back is to file bankruptcy. I see the U.S. doing a worldwide, a national bankruptcy, because it's just, I'm not going to pay the debt. I'm just going to let the system fall and let it reset. Once it resets, I can get my money back. Really, they file bankruptcy because that's the easiest way to avoid paying their debt. So that's all it is. It's going to be the U.S. is going to file bankruptcy.
But if they file bankruptcy, with that comes a collection of assets, and those assets lie within the borders of the United States. And it's my opinion that they're already making claim to some of those assets, as we see China purchasing land, as we see the elites purchasing millions upon millions of acres. I think you're right, Teo, in that it is a mechanism that they've put in place. And thinking about them not believing this could be sustained, one would come to the conclusion they'd have a plan. But I don't know. What are they going to do? The population, these are useless beings. Let me tell you something. I am amongst these people every day out in the street. I hand out free phones. That's what I do now, right? And I hand it out to the poor and the homeless and all that shit, right? And excuse my language. And they're defragmenting. They're becoming what almost useless utensils. You know, they're walking about confused, desperate. Some are in positions they've never been in before. And if this occurs, if this downfall of this country occurs, the only thing that can happen is that the population go into servitude of some type, slavery. So it plays right into biblical prophecy. And I wonder, how seriously do they take scripture? How seriously are they planning on this shit? Excuse my language, sorry. But that's my question. Hey.
Yes, Alba.
I silenced the room. Yes. Everybody asleep?
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here. I'm like,
Not at all.
You know what?
I thought Brother Mike. Yeah, I thought Brother
Hey,
Mike.
what's going on?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing? You Kobe, and you tell you how you and Doug and Brother Ass and Sister E. How you been holding up, sis?
I'm holding up good. I'm hanging on in there.
You know, the thing that got my attention. I mean, well, first and foremost, what we are thinking that's going to happen. It's like common sense that's going to happen. It's logical to see what's going to happen. But other people that may be listening, no. They be thinking that, no, it's going to go this way. This is what the political people are saying. But for everyone that's on this channel, Yacoba, Tayu, Brother Asa, Sister E, and whoever is listening, the one that's going to hold weight with is going people that look. It's going to look like us. It's going to hold weight because, like Doug said with Tayu, Yacoba, they both they bring scriptures with themselves to defend their position on why they believe what they believe. Now, you're right. It doesn't matter to us whether this woman wins or Trump wins. The same thing is going to happen. The same thing is going to happen. They want this to happen. So now the thing about it that I noticed, now all of a sudden she became black, and it seems like that's a pushing mechanism to get these people upset. Oh no, we can't have a black person as chief and commander. I'm seeing some hatred being brewed. And at the same time, we always said that we are the trendsetters. This is one time we not setting a trend because over there, the brother over in the EU, they riding already. You would think that it would have started in the United States first, but it didn't. But they're at that point where they want something to pop off. It's like they just got a taste for it. That's what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing. That's what I'm. But at the same time, like when Jacoba said earlier, when he was, I mean, I didn't know nothing about this debate, but then when some of the brothers and sisters in the comment call them witches and things of that nature, I will say this to every last one of anyone that call yourself Israel. The Most High don't lie. He doesn't lie. He told Abraham, those that bless you, I will bless them. Those that curse you, I will curse them. I would say to brothers and sisters, be mindful of how you talk about your brothers and sisters. That is a serious statement, and you can bring a curse upon yourself. Yeah, I know what we're coming out of. We're coming out of a darkness. We're awakening to who we are. But the Most High would not be holding back on judgment because of our loose lips that could sink a ship. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, King David, when Saul got killed, and that army officer, he was I forgot what nation he was from, but he brought the crown, brought the arm strap, and brought it to David as if he did something good. And David was. Say it again, brother.
He was an Edomite.
He was an Edomite? I did not know that. Take credit.
Oh yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't Hebrew because David had him killed. Because David said, "You knew that he was a saint, and yet you slew him." David told his young army officers to strike him down and kill him, and he didn't. That's what they did. David took that very seriously. Because David had plenty of times to strike Saul down. He had plenty of time, plenty instances to strike him down, but he didn't because he viewed the position that the Most High gave people, and if the Most High wanted him deceased, the Most High would have took care of him himself. He don't need flesh and blood to do that. But so, I mean, David took that very seriously. And my thing is this, I think we need to do the same thing. We should not be out here dropping F-bombs and calling brothers and sisters this and that, because it amounts to cursing your brother. Because now, like I said, he told Abraham, I'm going to bless or curse those that bless or curse you. And however we want to take that to heart, that remains to be seen. But this stuff here that's going on, so it's like it can go to the left and it can go to the right. When it's all over said and done, we gonna be right there in the middle, and we gonna have to realize how we going to move. Now we can go back and the brother may not agree with Jacoba and KU on their teachings and things. So be it. We have a issue right before our very face, before November. At least that what it appears right now. And do you think that I need to be caught going back and forth with my brother or sister? That's my line of thinking. That is my line of thinking. Now, granted, a brother or sister going to do what they're going to do. They're going to think what they want to think, and however that goes down that slippery slope, we don't know. But I just look at it like that me myself personally, I try to watch my tongue when I speak about brothers and sisters, because I do know certain things can get heated with this awakening. And a lot of us I ain't gonna say a lot of us, some of us can feel the Most High talks to me directly. I heard one sister said that, and that she felt so superior, but people tend to turn away from that type of line of thinking. But it happens. And it's happening right now. But I'd rather not feed into a whole lot of unnecessary nonsense because we have an pressing issue right now. And like Teo and Jacoby always said it. It's all about you Negroes. It's because you woke up. Now I'm hearing a whole lot of channels saying the same thing. It's about you Negroes because you woke up. The world may not believe it, but everybody else that's listening to your channels, they starting to see it and they starting to believe it. But that's my comment, Sister E.
Say, Sister E, I wanted to comment on the debate myself. I didn't get the comment, but I'm not gonna be messy.
Wait a minute, is it say okay? I know y'all voices. I know the difference in y'all voices. This is the first time I've been like, which one is talking? Okay, Tay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Judah the Hebrew disagreed with Jacoba's teaching, which was fine. Everybody have their own opinions. And it would have been nice if he just said, brother, I don't agree. Let's talk. But then he had this catty, crazy woman reach out to Jacoba, and she misbehaved like she has mental illness in Facebook. We had to block her because she was that crazy. And then Judah starts saying stuff like, well, I used to give to them and follow them, and now I have to stop because they apostate. And I'm like, okay, so we apostate because we say that desert land is not the land Yah promised us. Now,
Tell you, I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but let me hold on just for a moment. Hold on just for a moment. See, Sister E, this is the dumb stuff that I'm talking about. What he just said. The brother said, I used to give to them, now I had to start. That right there was a blow to all the other listeners, even for Teu and Yacoba. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's sabotage. That's sabotage.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait a minute, so
That's the type of dumb stuff I don't get down with.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You don't.
I don't
The
do
thing is,
that.
you don't understand the definition of apostate. People use that word loosely. That means the denier of the faith. Pretty much someone who turns away from the faith and teaches people to turn away from
You see,
the faith.
Jacoby, he thinks that you're doing what you're doing for the reasons that he's doing what he's doing.
Correct.
The reason he uses the word apostate is because he thinks you're positioning yourself as someone of like, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? I know that you are blessed by the hand of God Almighty, but you're not serving it up as if you're a beacon of light that all must follow at their own peril, and that's what that dude thinks he is. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That makes him a cult leader, right?
You're right, and I'm sorry, bro, but I mean, I did not want that to pass by without Sister E's listeners to hear this. When people come that way, you need to question that leader now, because what is your motive of saying what you're saying about an Israelite brother? You may not see and understand that same thing that he see, but he's claiming one thing: Israel. That's all you need to know.
And that's the thing, that's the point I'm making. Nowhere did we deny Messiah. Nowhere did we deny the Father. We acknowledge the Messiah's deity and everything, right? There's nothing. Now, who knows what he believes, right? But to use such harsh words over a disagreement on where the land is, right? When clearly, the scriptures, the promised land had brooks, streams, rivers. I mean, the geography of modern Jerusalem never had that, right? And for him to go ahead and say, oh, well, that's because of the curses. Well, he's assuming that desolate means barren, right? Desolate means without people. Barren means nothing can grow there, right? And the Bible doesn't say that the land is barren. So, these are the kind of things I'm like, this should be open for fair and simple discussion, right? There's no need for, trying to tell the community that somehow we're apostate because we think Ethiopia is where the true Holy Land is, but yet we have a lot more evidence than they do. Go ahead and see where the tomb of Jesus is in modern modern Jerusalem, and then compare that to the burial places out there in Ethiopia, right? There's a huge difference, right? And Ethiopia has those burial places that match what the scriptures say. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, Absalom's pillar. There's no such thing similar to that in modern Jerusalem, but yet Ethiopia has the exact same thing, pillars that represent the kings, right? So, it's not without reason and not without justification that we believe that there's no way the desert land can be our land, because the Arabian Peninsula was always a desert. And really, modern Jerusalem is part of the Arabian Peninsula for the most part. And that's why you can't grow anything there. That's why the modern Jews have to use modern technology to grow things, right? So, I mean, the Most High promised that land to us, and he said he's going to bring us back to that land and keep us there, and we're going to prosper. Well, how are we going to prosper? Are we going to use technology? Are we going to do like the fake Jews and use technology to make things grow? Right? I mean, there's a lot of questions, fair questions that we all should be thinking about, because Rome is our enemy. They've been working against us from the beginning. And as Jacoba has always said, it's about, and as Brother Mike said, it's about us. All these events are about us. Believe it or not, even the war in Ukraine is about us, right? They're trying to remove Russia, which is the only defense against the beast, or Mystery Babylon the Great, the Mother of Harlots. The only defense against her would be a nation like Russia, right? And Russia is the only one that never colonized Africa. And so this is why our brothers in Africa are trying to make alliances with Russia, because Russia never conquered them, right? But yet Russia can defend them against this monstrous beast system that claims to have nukes and high technology and AI, right? So, I mean, this is, we got to think about these things. We can't assume and accept what the Gentiles told us as facts, right?
Well, I mean, you give a lot to think about regarding that, and putting it in that kind of order. You absolutely. Tell me this, because if we're on this subject, how did modern day Jerusalem come about?
By the Catholics, right? Constantine and them. I mean, I don't think we know anything about that location being Jerusalem until right around the 3rd century AD, right? Do we have evidence in the in BC that indicates that land was still considered Jerusalem? I haven't seen any references prior to the Constantine. So, I mean, that's my opinion as far as why we believe what we believe about that land, right? But Constantine, yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sister.
No, finish what you were saying, because the only thing I was going to bring out was the fact of when they were trying to search for lands after the incident with the Holocaust, the lands that they were looking for, that was the promised land. Why were they doing a search for a land? Because they looked at Uganda. I heard they
There
was
you
looking at
go.
parts
There
of
you
Texas.
go. Look, good point. Excellent point. They were looking for a new homeland, but you mean to tell me Palestine wasn't your first thought? Why
They
in the
actually
world yeah,
they
go ahead.
considered Texas. I heard
Texas, Uganda, and I think Kenya, right?
Yeah.
But then who was going to believe a bunch of white people in the middle of black folks in Africa? Right? So they have to go and pick something that they can play off, like Palestine. Oh, well, yeah, some of us been over there for a long time, so we could get away with that.
Yeah, in the 1700s, Napoleon offered them Palestine, and they didn't take it until 138 to 150 years later. So why? What's the reason behind that?
I think it's timing. I think the mechanism was the realization that the enslaved Hebrews were going to be released and eventually learn how to read. And they, at that point, were up against the clock to get in position to be who they claim to be. I'm just curious. I know Jerusalem, current modern day Jerusalem. What about Jesus walking on the Sea of Galilee? Where is that?
That's in my opinion, Lake Tana. Now, Jacoba could tell me if he believed different, but so I think Jacoba did a teaching on that, and there was what's that that shore, Jacoba, with the mountains, and it was with an M, and it's in Basically, they took a
The
boat.
Simeon Mountains.
No. When in the scriptures where Jesus took a boat along the shores of Galilee and landed in the town of
Magdala.
Magdala, right? So there's a Magdala at the end of Lake Tana, and according to the way the scriptures describe that, you can see if you go look at the Lake Tana, you can see that story happen along the shores, right over to the mountainside to where Magdala is. There's literally a Magdala in Ethiopia, and the Lake Tana fits the imagery, right? So there's a lot of things pieces that fit, right, that don't fit with the desert land, right?
Another question. What about Jerusalem being downtrodden to the end of the Gentiles?
The people will be trodden.
That's how I took it. I took that as the people, not literally the land.
Right.
I took that as the people.
Okay.
Yeah,
so in essence, you're saying that the Europeans, these Edomites, whoever we're talking, the Romans, they did more in an effort to obscure the reality of what was, reposition Jerusalem and allowed that lie to take hold while they fought to get back there. But Jerusalem is actually in Ethiopia. Is that safe to say what you're saying?
The goal is to keep us from returning home, because when we return home, we rule.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Boom.
And
that makes sense to me.
Also, if you look at that scripture in Luke 21, it says, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and be led away captive." Right? Context wise, it's the people, and then it says Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentile till the time be fulfilled. So, context wise, it's the people that is in reference there, and not the land.
Yeah.
And then it stands to reason that your sound reasoning is that they would try to just confuse as much as they possibly could, and that would seem a move that these Edomites might make. So I can agree with you.
Good and well, they have it's a trade for them. A lie, tell a lie is a trade. They good at lying, bro.
And I'm gonna say this, Sister Shonda and Steve, y'all want to talk? Step in.
Well, I mean, right quick. I mean, in my opinion, it's a battle between Yah's people, Yah's chosen people, and Satan's chosen people. And who gets to rule this planet? That's what it's about.
That's what we at.
Yeah, I
y'all better
wonder.
jump
Jacoba
in.
said this is
Y'all
like
better
double
jump.
dutch if I don't get in.
Yeah,
Jacoba
you don't
said this is double
They gonna
dutch, so if
take
I
it.
don't get in, I ain't gonna get in. Was that Tay who said that? I thought it was Jacoba. How y'all doing?
It was me.
Yeah, you two sound exactly the same to me.
I thought that was Jacoba. I'm pretty sure I know
It
the
was
difference in
Jacoba.
their
You're right.
voices. Just a
Jacoba
little
was
bit.
the last
Tell their
statement.
voices. Y'all can't tell the difference in their voices.
Heck no. Oh no,
Say something,
I
Nicole.
can't tell.
Y'all
That's
can't
because
tell. Listen,
Sister E, my sister, now she know how we sound. She could tell a distinction in our voices.
I can, and I guess because I sing too.
Well,
I
people used
sing,
to
so I
say,
can.
people used to say Jacoba had mental illness talking to himself.
That's messed
That is
up.
too funny. Now, at first I couldn't, but if you can tell, Teo's voice has a little bit more of a deeper pitch.
It does. It had a higher pitch earlier, though. I listened to some of his
Yeah.
older videos, and his voice was higher.
Yeah, you
Weird.
can tell the pitch difference. I think because in being in music, you can tell a slight difference in anything, and I can tell that there's a slight pitch difference in
Yeah, sorcery. It's sorcery. You're a witch, Jacoba.
Okay,
You
so
divided yourself.
I
You're a
want
witch.
to say something real quick while I got a chance to jump in this double dutch. I came on. I've been listening, all morning, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Brother Michael because I jumped in because of what you said. I listened to you a couple weeks ago when you were on Covenant Awaken. Shout out to Brother Karras. And Brother Karras was not feeling well that day. And you came in, and for like 2 hours, you just began to minister. And I was listening in the background. And I just want to tell you that your words are powerful. You have no idea how much you have impacted my household by those words that you said 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. And what you said today. I didn't get a chance to listen to the debate because I had my own live yesterday around the same time. But one of the things that I want to say is that for those people who feel as though there's something wrong with us supporting one another, you are the one who has the problem, and the reason why is because we have been, together. I would say in our respective channels, our respective ministries, but in solidarity and unified for years now, since back from urban apologetics days. And one of the reasons why is because when Yahuwah woke us up, there wasn't many like us, in the sense that there wasn't many people who were born again and accepted their Israelite heritage. We weren't camps. We weren't preaching hatred of the white man. We understood the most important thing was for us to know and wake up to who we are, at the same time speaking the truth to what the white man and all nations have done to us. So the bigger issue, even beyond that, is what Michael said, because the truth is that we must be a unified front. We have to be a unified front in this day and age, because, as we always say, we ain't got nobody else. We don't have anybody else. Everybody else has aligned themselves, according to Psalm 83, to be against us. And so if we as brothers and sisters, as ministry leaders, influencers, content creators, whatever you want to call us, if we're not cooperating with one another, and we're not unifying with one another, then we're not representing the call of the Messiah upon us, which is that we would express the way that we love one another. So I didn't see the debate, but I stood with with Teo Ministries, with Yacoba Teu, with Sister E, with Karis Copeland. I've stood with Benea Lorben, Ron Dalton, Dante Fortson, Sister Halda. It's a lot of us who is brought together for such a time as this. And so learn how to love one another in this day and this time, even in our disagreements, because we do have disagreements, but we have to learn how to disagree agreeably. And so I just want to say thank you so much, Brother Michael, for the impact that your words have made. Thank you. And I'm not going to forget about our brother Asaph as well. Thank you so much for sitting out in the UK. We have to stand together as a united front, because we represent the true and living Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach. And so I just want to get those words out, and then I'll go in the background. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sis.
The way that I see it is that I have to support all the channels that are bringing out the truth, because by doing so and appearing occasionally on each of your channels, it draws in people, because they're more willing to listen to what's coming from America, really, than what's coming from us. And the team that you have over there and the brethren have been so influential in bringing people in, because I'll be in the supermarket talking to my wife or something like that, and they're saying, "Oh, we heard you on this channel. Are you Brother Asaph? We heard you on this channel and that channel. Where do you fellowship? We want to come." And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You're just doing a marvelous job, all of you over there, and I pray that will continue and meet at some point in the land.
And interesting enough, the us coming together was more so planned by the Most High than us planning it. Because I tell everybody, and I'm not saying we're indifferent, but before, and I was telling Yacoba this yesterday, I said before it was a fad now, because now it's a fad. Everybody's saying who they are. And it was just a few voices that were standing out. We had to stand together, wrong, right, or indifferent. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to agree with you to stand with you. We can have a difference of opinion and stand strong together. And we have to respect those differences of opinion. And when that's where you truly see unity is, we may not believe or agree, not necessarily on the essentials, but on other aspects of the belief that we may not have to agree, but we're still going to stand. And I think that's where you begin to see that unity. Unity doesn't necessarily say I have to agree with you. Unity means that in spite of my disagreements with you, we can still stand together. And that's the true essence of unity.
Exactly.
All right,
I mean,
y'all.
this is where we at right now. This is where we at. And I mean, shucks. I mean,
It's about standing with one another in love.
Correct. And the
it's
thing
just,
is, it's nothing wrong, and it's nothing wrong with voicing your differences. Nothing wrong
mhm.
with voicing your differences. That's a part of being an adult, and that's a part of being mature. I mean, me and Yakoba have always seen eye to eye. I want to say 99% of the time. It's that 1% that's sometimes the testament of how close we are. I can disagree with Yakoba and walk away and say that's still my brother. I can disagree with Doug and say that's my brother. I can disagree with Teo and Shonda and still consider them my brother and my sister. Ace, if everybody up here, I can disagree with everybody and voice that. But the maturity lies within that's my sister's voice. Let's figure out why she doesn't agree. And even with that, let's walk in unity. And I think that's where they find that level of dissension amongst us. Let's find that 1% and cause that to be the overall problem with the group. Let's just work past that 1% and still look at the 99. That should be our goal.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna jump in real quick because I'm on the clock, but I wanted to share this with y'all while we on topic. About the whole America uprising type of thing. As the panel's mentioning, about us being unified is absolutely critical, and unfortunately, we're going to be forced to be unified because of pressure, and that's just what it is. But um, my wife had a very the Baptist church we attend on a semi-regular basis, and again, one of the most vivid dreams that she had. She A white guy came in with just in his underwear and sat next to her. Another white guy came in, sat on the opposite aisle with a trench coat on. Um, Again, very very vivid dream. And of course, as Black folks are, we try to be nice and try to be ministering. She said both of them had a terrible smell to them. Um, and of course, people trying to be nice and welcome and inviting. And one of the guys who was almost naked, had sat right beside her, and she was trying to talk to him like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He gave the nod to the other guy. He had a AR-15 under his trench coat, and he began to shoot up the church that we go to. Like this political situation that's going on. And I just want us to be mindful, given that whether Hebrew not, whatever you do, that what we see is happening in the UK and everything is going to get very real and very palpable. And I believe that was a warning for her, for the folks that we
Mhm.
fellowship with at times, to make sure that one, we are armed in church as well, but also for all of us to make sure that we keep our head on a swivel in the midst of it, because it's cool, we can sit down and talk and have a conversation and all that is great. But when it gets hotter, these platforms may not be available to do this. And we have to have a certain level of diligence and again agreement to where we can lay aside whatever small beefs we may have. And as folks, we might have small beefs, and those things can become very big amongst us. But the time is going to come where we really are going to have to rely on one each other, rely on each other, because it will.
Steve, you're going in and out.
You know what? You know what? That's what I was saying earlier.
Can you
When I
hear me
was
now?
talking about. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, no.
Yeah,
Can
go
Yeah,
you?
ahead.
we hear you.
Where did y'all miss me at? Or did y'all miss anything I said? Or
The last part you said was we got to learn how to lay aside. I think you were going into that.
yeah, just lay aside whatever issues or beasts we have, because ultimately the time is going to come where we're going to be forced to lean on each other. And just I just want to share that. So
Brother Steve, I think that time is right now. I
no, it is. I mean
seriously,
that. Yeah, yeah,
I think we are late to the party.
yeah. I'm just saying
Truthfully.
that dream that was this morning. That was like
Yeah.
like 6 hours, 7 hours ago. So I'm just telling y'all, in line of the divine timing. Like this is what we're
Yeah.
dealing with in our own home. So just sharing this. So
I
What I was
agree.
looking at,
I do
Steve, what you
agree.
said. You was talking about those two Gentiles, one half naked, one had a long coat on. It's the same thing. We talking about two people that's running for commander in chief of one country. And no matter who wins, there's still trouble right down it's trouble right in the middle of the road. I remember brother Yacoba had a show where he was he was showing a video of these two Gentile guys, and one guy was saying, "Hey, this particular party is going to cause all of this mayhem against African American," and go say that this political group did it. But African Americans won't know who really truly did it. Anybody can say, "Oh, we didn't do it," or "No, we didn't do it." Both sides can say we didn't do it, but we stuck in the middle. I understand exactly what you're saying, and this is what we are right now.
I
You
agree.
head on a swivel? Yes, that's where we at. I'm sorry, sister.
No, I'm agreeing with what y'all saying. I agree. Go ahead, continue on, Michael.
No, that was it, sis. I mean, oh, it's hot. It's not getting. It's hot now. It's hot, and we got caught up in their system. I mean, Yacoba probably understand his brother. We made a living. We wanted things better for our kids, and we moved into certain neighborhoods. This is what we did, and now we come to see. It seems like I need to go back to some people where I'm used to, people I can get, that's going to understand what's going on, and at the same time, especially in Chicago, it would leave you kind of speechless because you be saying to yourself, Negroes, do you all know what's going on and y'all still around here killing one another? Do you understand the gravity of what's going on? And for whoever, Sister Shonda, Doug Rice, Sister E, your platform, Brother Yacoba, and tell you, those are the only ones that's really understanding anything that we're saying right now. They're the only ones that understand it. And that is a very scary situation or predicament.
And you know what?
When it's all over said and done. I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on everything, Brother Mike. And one thing that I see that a lot of people may not see is that they think the entire issue of the location of Jerusalem is a minor issue. But what I think is the reason why there's so much resistance to even, looking at the issue and contemplating that it's a possibility is because the end time deception is in the dirt, right? Is in that land in the Middle East. Everything is focused there, even the situation with Israel and the Palestinians and, the whole idea of Jerusalem being surrounded during the Battle of Armageddon. In order to play that out, that's the known location currently of Jerusalem. So no one wants to fight against that because that's what the setup is. And so those who don't believe that's our land, they're not going to be deceived. And when the world come together and Jerusalem, modern Jerusalem, becomes the center of the world government, right? The center of all peace, and the Muslims get along and the Christians get along and the Jew, those people get along, then nobody's going to say anything because this is what they've been expecting from the beginning. This is what they've been conditioned with. But those who understand that's not our home, not going to be deceived. So I think it's a bigger issue.
So you're
It's a bigger issue because
go ahead.
I just want to say because every nation needs a land, and that's one of the reasons why we're a nation within nations and why we don't have the ability to really militarize and unify like any other nation would. It's because we don't know where our land is collectively. Scripture says that we're going to say, which way to Zion? And I see that now that that conversation is coming up, you know, a lot more among us now that we know who we are. Where are we supposed to be going? Where were we taken from? Where is Yahuwah bringing us back to? And I think these conversations are extremely important. You know, I want to say I was in New York a couple of months ago, and I had to go through Fort Lauderdale to get back home. And, you know, dealing with TSA was the usual dealing with TSA. But this time around, when I went to Maryland and had to come back through Fort Lauderdale, it was a little bit different. For one thing, the line was way out through the door at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I ended up having to get a clear pass so that I could bypass going through the line so I didn't miss my flight. But even as my family and I were going through TSA, they had dogs, and the dogs were like sniffing everybody to, I guess, see and make sure that they didn't have anything on them. But that's not normal. There are things that are definitely happening in the United States. From the time I landed there, I felt a heavy oppression. I'm not going to tell y'all that there wasn't some things that I didn't miss, like being able to have more variety in my shopping, but there was an instant fear of the police. I don't have to deal with that in the Caribbean at all. But in the States, it's like there's almost like we've been trained to be afraid of the police and the military. And we've been traumatized on such a daily basis that it's normalized, and it shouldn't be normal. And so I think that there's an uptick in all of this militarization that is happening and the excess of police that is happening because spiritually we are getting ready to see a transition with the children of Israel. You see it with what's going on over in the UK. So yes, we need to prepare, especially in light of this election that is coming up, this selection, if you will, that is coming up. There's going to be a lot of militant groups that are going to be fighting one way or the other. So we got to stay prayed up. We got to get and gird our minds up and our heart up in that word. And we have to stay committed as a unified front the best that we can, so that when he's ready to call us out of these systems, that we're not so attached to these systems. And I know many of us listening on here are already detaching, but we're not so attached to these systems that we're not ready to go into land, whether it be in Ethiopia, whether it be in, some people believe that it's in Tanzania. I know that Ron Dalton preaches this in the Congo. So there's a lot of different thought processes around where our land is, but regardless, the Most High will make it clear, and we just need to be prepared to go when he calls us to leave.
I agree.
I definitely agree, y'all. I think this is very, very, very much so an interesting time. Very much the things that we're seeing is not necessarily to make us afraid, make us alert. Somebody brought up Grand Central Station in New York, seeing dogs. Yeah, it's true. You see dogs. You see the military in Grand Central Station every day. You see them all over the subway systems every day. Not all of them, but some of them. Key places, key subway systems, you see it. And you feel it. And you feel the weight and the heaviness. But that weight and that heaviness is really the judgment that's falling upon them and not necessarily us. We're seeing, he says, he said, we'll see those things. We will see those things in the last day. We will. And at the end of it, that's when we're going to get up out of here, because that's when he's going to say, okay, I'm going to give you your riches and you can get up out. We're going to witness everything that's going on. And what's so interesting about that scripture when I first read it, it says that you're going to see it. He didn't say be judged. He said you're going to see it in those last days. And that's why I lay on that. It's not going to be a judgment for us. We're going to see it, and it's going to scare the crap out of us. But understand that the judgment is not on us, it's on them. Now, any of us that decide to jump in the hot seat with them, yes, you're going to fall up under the sword. But the sword is not meant for us in these last days. And I got to go in a minute, y'all, because I got to run some errands. Can y'all hear me?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we
we hear
got
you, sister.
we
At
got
least I do.
yeah, I hear you.
I mean, it is what it is, and it's happening. And the thing about it, Sister E, for people of color or Negroes, we got to get used to listening to our brothers and sisters. The world had us. If it ain't said by a Gentile, it ain't right. And we literally have to erase that out of our heads. And it takes time because I never will forget when I woke up. You talking about frustration? I had a difficult time of saying Yahushua instead of Jesus. That's just me personally. And I had this other brother. He went through the same thing, and we came up in the same religion. And he was adamant that he wanted to call on his real name. So what we may think is small can be very great because you're trying your best to step out of a system where they lied to you, taught you, and embedded in you. And you're trying to clear all of that out. It's a frustrating situation, and I think this is where we're at. Did not Yahushua said that a prophet is not even he's not even respecting this in his own hometown, that is. And I'm looking at it right now. You can have brothers and sisters sit up here and speak truth, word for word, from a scriptural standpoint. And you still have individuals that hold on to Easter or whatever the scriptures may hold and do not hold. These are the things that they're holding on to that we talk about, we reason about, and unfortunately, our family, it seems they're believing the lie, and they know it's a lie, and that's the thing that can it can weigh you down, your heart, because this is your family, this is your blood. But when brothers and sisters speak truth and they hold on to the truth, there's a measure of hurt that's going to go with what you believe from a biblical standpoint, and you go hold on to it. And a lot of our families is just not going to do that. They just not going to do it. And we at that particular time, I mean, not only with our families, we talking about the political sector. It's like we getting hit in so many directions. And if we do not believe in the Most High, there is no way none of us will be alive to this very day. There's a higher power that is taking control of each and every last one of us, even the ones that may not agree with Tayu or Brother Doug or Sister Shonda for that matter. But yet and still, they say, you know what, she is real. I'm gonna respect her. I don't agree with this here. That can be put on the back burner. But if my sister's in trouble, it is a necessity that I be first and foremost there to help her out. That's the mentality that we should be maintaining right now to this very day. I give it back to you, Sister E.
Thank you. It goes and it goes deeper, and I understand your point, and it goes deeper than the concept of the belief system of who we are and the holidays and all that. I understand your point on that, and I agree with the majority of what you say. Just about, I think where I'm going to add to it is going to be because I really believe that all of us are going to have to make a decision, and not even make a decision. It's going to be within our own. We won't be able to make the decision. That's what I'm getting ready to say.
we're gonna have to do it anyway, and he's gonna put us in that position. Because think about it, when people came out of Egypt, they were still practicing some of the things. That's why the Most High had to lay those laws down and say, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because coming out of Egypt, they had Egyptian ways. It's the same thing he's going to have to do. That's why he's going to take this heart and change it. Because we're going to walk out with American hearts, British hearts, um, Australian hearts, because that's where we were. That's where we were comfortable. That's where he says, live and live there, plant vineyards there. We're planting vineyards there. We're planting our life there. We're planting our customs there. Everything that we know is American. I think when we come out, that's when when he uproots us and takes us out, is when he's going to have to change that heart. That's when he's going to have to change that mindset. That's when he's going to have to change us, because the change doesn't happen over here. The change happens over there, wherever he plants us. So the biggest thing is when he tells us to leave, we're going to all have to get up out. Whenever he says, bye, get out, we don't have to go beyond without even a second's notice. We ain't gonna be able to make a decision on it. But when we move, we're gonna make a unified move, and that's where he's gonna say, I'm gonna bring you over here. When you read Ezekiel, that's when he says he's gonna change us. He's gonna have to bring those two sticks together. When he bring those two sticks together, that's when we're gonna see the difference. The difference won't happen over here.
You say change. You talk about change. I was thinking as you were talking, and first and foremost, everyone should understand that the road from here to the promised land is not going to be easy. We already know that. And ready to go on a moment's notice isn't even the half of it. Ready to be, just stalwart about turning your back on the system at the right moment, looking absolutely insane to your friends and family, and everything that happens after that. And the road that leads to where we're all trying to go will change us all.
Correct.
We're not going to be the same people that we are at this moment. You won't even recognize the people that we interact with right now because of what we'll need to endure as we move through this transition. And my only hope is that each of us remembers these moments. The reason we need to remember these moments, because we all understand what connects us, and what connects us is these systems that they control. And they, at any moment, can turn these systems off, cutting us off from communication. And preceding that or after that, certainly the lights, the power, and all these other mechanisms that keep this system afloat will fall. That will be one of the transitory experiences needed to move through this. And my hope is that each and every one of us commits to memory these interactions, because you're going to need them. You're going to need all of these memories, all of these communications, all of these scriptures, all of these learnings to maintain the steel within to endure through to the end. And that's for real. Because a choice is going to have to be made at some point. And that choice is leave or stay. Leave or stay. And that's easy to say. It's easy to say. That's why you got to mentally brace yourselves now to leave this place behind. It was never built, never meant for Negroes. And any Negro that is in the false thinking that this place was built for our comfort will come to a harsh realization in just a few moments, let me tell you, because these hillbillies are about to show you what they think of you.
Exactly.
If you can't, as a Negro, understand your place in this place, then the harsh reality is about to slap you in your face. And I mean that. That's going to happen. So I'm hoping everybody, we're taking this wonderful time to communicate and to congregate between family. We are one family of Negroes. We no longer have the ability to do this, and that time is coming. The only way that we will ensure that we see each other again is to commit these moments so that we can do so, commit them to memory so that we can look forward to seeing each other face to face, because that's the end result of this. And I land there.
Correct. Well, I'm getting ready to close. Anybody got any closing words? Because I got a few errands to run today. And if I don't do it, I'm going to have problems tomorrow. So.
Brothers and sisters, keep your head on the swivel. You're seeing what time we're living in. We need to be drawn together than further apart. Um, whatever beliefs we have, let's maintain one. That Yahuwah is the creator. Yahusha is our redeemer. And we all are brothers and sisters. Maintain that and let us move on. I hand it back to you, Sister Shaw. Sister Shaw, Sister E.
Who that? She called it was a government
Sister Shaw,
name
she's
yesterday. Don't
no,
call her
Sister
by a government name. She'll spark up. Don't do that. Don't
Hey,
do that.
no, Sister Shaw, the sister, she be going at me all the time. You know, her and Karis, and I don't know why in the world I was just thinking about both of them, but it is what it is, bro.
Well, goodness gracious. All I'm going to say in departing, if I might, is just remember all of the things that we talk about. The end result and the pivotal point of this is the kingdom. There are two things that we have to maintain. The sovereignty of the Most High God. That's first. That's our purview. We are ambassadors to the kingdom of heaven. That's who we are. That and the establishment of the kingdom of heaven on this earth is the priority, and it takes priority over everything that you have going on in your life. More importantly, the kingdom is more important than your successes, your failings, your worries, your bills, your house, your family. The kingdom overrides all things. That is the center point of this, and that's what we represent on this planet. We represent the antithesis to the kingdoms of the earth. That's why they hate us. You'll notice we don't have a country, and the reason we don't, and it's interesting that we don't have a country because we don't have a flag. And all the rest of these countries have flags, even Ethiopia. Everybody talking about Ethiopia so much. They're a country, and they too must fall. And that's where I will land. The kingdom is the crux. And that's our focus, getting to the promised land and establishing the kingdom on this earth. Thanks so much, Sister, for letting me on. I do appreciate it. You are a blessing.
God, y'all blessings to both of y'all. So, all right, family. I have definitely enjoyed this dialogue. This was a great conversation. I think, what everybody said, we all are speaking in unity. I think ultimately the goal is for us to speak as one voice, and speaking as one voice, we have to learn how to look past our faults, um, and just stand firm in it. Much love to y'all. Thank y'all so much for y'all's prayers and what's been transpiring. It seems like everything is making a turn for the better for the past couple of days. I thank y'all for allowing me to see and really see it for myself. I honestly think this experience for the past couple of weeks, I can not only tell people what I think, I can tell people from what I've experienced and seen. And I can be able to walk in it. I had to really, really go before the Most High. Why am I going through this, Father? He said, I needed you to see. And now that I see a few things, it's like, wow. So what we've been saying is right. About that community. What we've been seeing, what I've been seeing, I've seen it for myself now. So I can really speak from experience based on my experiences in the past couple of weeks. So with that being said, I thank God for the lesson that I've learned over the past couple of weeks. And I'm at peace with him. And everything that we go through he's trying to get us to follow him, but also see, to be able to provide true insight of what's really going on. And sometimes being able to see, you got to get in the thick of things. And being in the thick of it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it ain't been easy. It has not. But the thing is, he loves me enough to say, I'm gonna make you better, beloved. So any trial or any tribulation you go through, Most High wants you to get better, but he also wants you to trust him. And sometimes he wants you to see the true face of the enemy. And I think I've seen all three of them. Seen all three wrapped in all three of them. I've seen the work of the Father, seen His hand in it. It made me trust in Him a little bit more. It also made me see what He's called for me to do. It has really, really, really opened my eyes and some of the things that He wants me to do, and wants me to see, become more of a watchman, more of a voice, standing and trusting him. And again, I love him for every aspect of what I've been going through. Um, because of what I've been going through, he allowed me to see that he has control. Ooh, y'all, I got a little emotional, not in a bad way, but in a good way. Y'all, he's opened my eyes to some things. To me, even. He's allowed me to see, you know, he's on my side. A couple of days ago, I was in tears. I said, "Can you hear me, Father? Have your ears closed? What is going on?" He was telling me, "I hear you, but I'm not moving until I'm ready to move." And sometimes he doesn't move because he wants us to see something. Yeah, I still got some more lessons to learn. I got some more lessons to learn. And I'm still asking him, what do you have for me to do? Yesterday, I had a couple of days ago, I had to say, anything that I give Father is because of you and not me. Sometimes that's what he wants to hear. Everything that I have is because of you. Everything from where I lay my head every day, to what every ounce of water I drink, every morsel of food I put in my mouth, every time I get in my car, every time I get up and walk, every time I'm able to speak, every time I'm able to open my eyes every day, it's because of you. Because of you, Father. So in this submission, and somebody said submit, it just made me think about that. In this submission to him, submission is rough. I don't care how much access you got. When God says no right now, it ain't gonna happen. And I just trust him in this time. I trust him in this time. So I'm good, y'all. I'm at peace. And I'm gonna keep on going. Keep on going. Keep going, y'all. Keep going. That's what he wants us to do. Keep moving. Keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up. The race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to the one who endures until the end. That's key right there. I don't care how fast you are, how strong you are. But to the one that endures until the end. But he put that there. He lets that he let that you got to keep going when your own mind says don't go. When your mind says it's over. Mm. When everything around you says it's not working for you. And sometimes you don't hear his voice. And you say, Father, I can't hear you right now. You still have to keep going. Still have to keep going. When you think he's silent and you're in a place where you're just like, I just need to hear you. You got to keep going. Got to keep going. Again, it's not to how strong you are, how fast you move. It's just the ability just to endure. And in that endurance lies faith. A faith. When everything around you looks like everything is not working, faith. Everything around me says it's not going to work. But I'm hearing a small voice saying, do you trust me? I said, yes, I do trust you, Father. He said, have I ever left you nor forsaken you? No, you haven't, Father. So why would I leave you now? That's what he wants us to hear. That's what he's gonna want us to hear in those last days. Can you hear me? And that's key right there. When all hell breaks loose and you're standing on your own, do you hear me? When everybody leaves you and you're standing by yourself, do you hear me? When you're in your lonely place, can you hear me? So I thank him for this time and this season in my life. This has been the most unstable season I've ever had in my life. This year has been the most
trying year from the beginning until now. I buried my father at the beginning of the year. That broke my heart. To see that man leave up out of here. And I physically was in the hospital and I saw him take his last breath. And that's the hardest part out of dealing with Father Day. I can call my daddy when everything go wrong. I can call my daddy and talk to him. Say, Daddy, guess what's going on? Been a rough year for me. And I think the roughest part of the year is usually losing my dad. But I know God is, ooh, He is God and God alone. And I got to trust in Him. I got to trust in Him. I do. And I'm so at peace with Him right now. I ain't gonna ever say the past couple of days I've been angry. I said, God, why am I going through this? He said, why not you? Mm. He said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Mm. Oh, though you slay me, yet will I trust Him. Though you slay me, yet will I trust Him. Mm. That stayed in my spirit. Though you slay me, yet will I trust Him. Mm. So I'm gonna leave on that note, y'all. Ah, I'm leaving on that note. I'm getting ready to go and take care of a few of my errands. But rest assured that I'm for those who don't worry, I'm good. I'm good. It's been a rough year, but I know what's on the other end of it here. So who said that we was gonna always have good days? There's gonna be some days that ain't gonna be so good. And that's why I have to pull my own personal arrogance aside to say, who am I to say that I'm not supposed to go through something in life? So y'all, love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for y'all's prayers. Um, know that I'm good. You just know that I'm in a good place. And I'm going to remain in that good place, which is in Him. I used to love the Clark sisters, and I'm going to end it right here. And one of her songs is the safest place in the whole wide world. The safest place in the whole wide world is to be in the will of God. Oh, it was a Karen Clark song. Didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. That's the safest place. So, all right, y'all, I got to go. Love y'all. Keep me in prayers. I'm going to keep y'all in prayer. I will see y'all later on this week. And y'all bless. Love y'all.